So that's all recording though.
Yeah, I think there must be.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, guys. How you doing? Listen, you're gonna see a fantastic podcast right now. But before you do so, we want to really urge you to give money to charity this Ramadan, and we're doing food packs in all of the deprived areas in places like Somalia and places like Pakistan and places like Afghanistan and Morocco. So make sure you click the link below. Sneeko, do you want to say anything about this?
Of course, zakat is a very important part of being a Muslim.
Yes.
Even if you're not Muslim, this is going to feed people right now.
Yes.
I think it's very important right now that you give your money away. It's going to cleanse your mind and cleanse your wealth because there's a lot of haram money that we're making. So give some money away, feed some people, and you'll feel better, and the people you're feeding will definitely feel better.
Ali, you want to say something about that?
No, that's it. Like the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, that sadaqah will never make you poor. The sadaqah is burhan for you. It's a witness for you. The sadaqah will get in the way of calamity. And sadaqah, and he said, cure your sick with sadaqah. Yeah? This is what we believe in. So, brothers and sisters, give whatever you can, inshallah. Yeah.
Charity doesn't decrease from your wealth. No. And especially with what we're seeing around the world, the brothers and sisters are definitely in need of our support. And if Allah's blessed you, then share the wealth.
Dawood?
Yeah, I agree with all of you.
We'll keep the link below.
Nobody's went broke giving money away.
Yes.
For charity. Nobody's ever gone broke giving money to charity.
That's what the Prophet ﷺ said.
Exactly.
It will never make you poor.
All right. Click the link below. Poverty is one of the greatest indicators for crime because it makes crime a rational choice. If you really think about it, if someone's not making that much money, they're more likely to engage in crime. Now, if you look at the historical process of what happened in the United Kingdom, for example, after World War II, a lot of people came into the country from the ex-colonies to rebuild the country. So they were blue-collar workers, they were working-class people, and they continued being working-class. So in the United Kingdom, a lot of the Muslim people in the community, they're not middle class or upper class, they're working class, they're poor people. They're taking, for example, benefits from the state, they're on welfare, they're on council, they're homeless, they're claiming this kind of things. In America, you've got the same demographic. In California, because when I went to California, I started realizing this is a bit of a culture shock, because you have Pakistanis, like I went to Sacramento, I spent time in LA and stuff, other places, but mostly in Sacramento. And I realized that the kind of Pakistanis you got there and South Asians are rich to say crudely, right? And rich people, middle class, upper class. And that's because America decided when they were bringing people in to have people who have a certain caliber, educational caliber. We're going to have doctors, we're going to have this, engineers, we're going to have this. England didn't think like that. England had the opposite strategy. They just needed to get blue-collar workers in. So, yes, it's true. If you compare, for example...
So America kind of handpicked the people that they wanted in the country.
It was a different context, completely. Because think about it. America wasn't actually physically destroyed by the war. Whereas England was. England was attacked physically by Germany in that World War II. America was far away from it. They got involved in the war, World War II, but they didn't get... They were untouched. Only Pearl Harbor. And that's not really anything, to count, to be honest with you, compared to what happened in Europe. So, as a result, you're seeing these kinds of things. Like, you'll find that most countries in Europe...
Who orders coffees? There's some drinks there.
Oh,
I'll take some, yes, yeah.
most countries in Europe. So France has a big intake of Algerians, of Moroccans, mostly Algerians. Belgium, the same thing, and they're all ex-colonies. And first of all, they're working class. The same story, working class. So you'll find poverty, but also you'll find crime amongst large groups. But you also find resentment because, well, these are ex-people that were colonized. Like in the Algerian case, the people were colonized, so they don't have a really favorable attitude towards the French. So you have a two-way resentment. It's all very interesting, but what I'm trying to say is that when I went to South Africa, for example, the Indians there were very rich. They were very rich, and they were very
Were they Hindu or Muslim?
Muslim. Yeah, obviously the Hindus are as well, but like the ones I saw that were Muslim were very rich. Muslim, very rich. So it really depends on the context. You'll find every part of, whether it's the Western world or whether it's Africa or South Africa, whatever it is, you'll find minority Muslims operating in a slightly different way. Because of, I would say the main factor is social class. That's my view. It's not race, it's not religion, it's actually social class. That's why you'll find white people. If they're in a deprived area in London, they're more likely to commit crimes. I used to work in Essex and this kind of this. I used to work here, and it was a working class, white people that were committing crimes and all kind of things. It's not because of their race. I mean, they would jump and say, it's because of your race. Or jump and say it's because of your religion. We say it's because it becomes a rational choice for you to do that. Right. Because you don't have money. And so it makes sense to take high risks and high rewards.
Do you believe in race realism at all?
No.
You don't think IQ is ingrained to your race whatsoever?
I don't agree with this at all. I think it's a very unfortunate, belief system. I think it's wrong.
So why do you think Asians score so high on IQ tests?
Because of the culture. It's not just IQ test. Consider the following, yeah? Why, if it's not just Asians, look at Chinese people. Chinese people and Indian people, they do very well. Pound for pound, they do very, very well. Like in university settings. Objectively, like if you look at it statistically, depending on the subject, but Chinese people, they do very well, especially in like economics, mathematics. I know it's not stereotypical, but they do very well. What is it about Chinese culture needs to be asked? What is it about Indian culture? I think it's to do with pressure, bro. It's the kind of pressure they put. I recently looked at statistics of this year in the United Kingdom. And the United Kingdom government put them out for GCSEs, which is what's like the SATs, right before the A levels. And the third group was Bangladeshis. I was very, very surprised by that. Yeah, so if race realism was true, then what's going on? Because the thing is, what's in common between a Bengali or Indian and a Chinese? Usually those who espouse race realism, they connect to the white gene. Well, the Chinese is far away from being a white guy, sorry to say. And Indian is far away from being a white. In fact, it's not a white guy at all. So, do you know what I mean?
Really?
Because Chinese go a bit of white. But we were just talking in the car, funny enough, we were talking about in sports though. I do believe in certain races have certain advantages in the sport. I know it's a controversial idea. But if in the last 50 years, how many white men have run 100 meter, got a gold medal for that? In the Olympics? None. Not even that many. None. Zero. The answer is zero. Bro, imagine that. Imagine the statistics that says in 100 meter, I think the last 30 or 50 years, no white man has ever won that. So you could say there are certain things that favor, race, West African genetics, West African or East African. Like for example, the long distance runners. Bro, they're fast, but they're long distance.
So why are physical attributes? Why is that correlate with race? But you're saying that something like IQ is not correlated to race.
The thing is, IQ tests, I'm not convinced by it. As a process of determining who's more clever and who's not more clever, who's more knowledgeable, who's not more knowledgeable, I'm not convinced by that.
It's not a good measure of intelligence.
I'm not saying it's not a good measure. It could be a good measure because they have logical aspect, they have grammatical aspect, they have this and that. But they haven't convinced me in saying that this is the gold standard of explaining human intelligence.
Okay, bringing it to Islam, Indians are taking over in terms of becoming billionaires, and I want to understand what you think about the difference between Indian Muslims and
100%.
You know about this, huh?
Yeah, why are Indians taking over in every if you look at the amount of billionaires in the tech industries, it's so many Indians are taking over. A lot of time people like to talk about the Jewish influence and money, but Indians are doing really well. Are they Muslim or are they Hindu? What's the difference?
So the thing with whether it's Zionists or whether it's Hindus, they have an innate contradiction within their faith, which is that you can be an atheist, but you can still be an Hindu. You can be an atheist, but you can still be a Jew. So the fact that there's such a big flexibility, having such a big flexibility allows you to adapt more than, say someone like a Muslim, who has set criteria, who has, more boundaries and more kind of demarcations. So Hindus can be put in any surrounding, any kind of thing, and they can adapt. Their religion is very flexible. For example, they believe one God, but they believe in 1,000 gods. They believe that the tree is God, but they believe that the tree is not God. They believe that there is no God, but they believe there's 100 gods. So there's this because we have these conversations. we have
You're
this
laughing, but it's true. Like,
yeah. It's because we have conversations, whether it's on live streams, whether it's at Speaker's Corner, whether we see the content, and you will genuinely hear Hindus, you will hear Jewish people. I came across a Jewish atheist, and the guy said, yeah, I'm a Jewish atheist. How that works, then you start playing with semantics. Yeah, we can do this. A Jewish person, they have certain beliefs. However, some of them, you know, they will say, you know what, belief is, they start becoming very perennialist, which is, oh yeah, the religions, it's fine, we do this, and we put this forward, and we do like this. So for them, there's a great deal of flexibility. You won't see, for example, the CEO of Alphabet for Google.
Is that an Indian?
That's an Indian, yeah.
Is it a Hindu?
It's, claims to be an Hindu. But what type of Hindu? Does he pray? Does he do Murti Puja?
Poopy Hindu or a clean Hindu?
Yeah. Is that?
What did you say that?
Murti Puja.
What's that word?
Murti Puja is idol worship. But they believe that idol worship is different to, say, a pagan's idol worship. Like, they believe that the essence or part of God actually resides in the idol. This is what they did recently in India as well. There's an inauguration ceremony where you create an idol, but then you have to do a ceremony that a part of God goes in there and it becomes a murti. So for them, bro, you can put a murti in a workplace, you can put a murti at home, you can pray at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can pray 8 o'clock in the evening, you can pray after 1 week. So their stringent nature is not as stringent as, say, Muslims. For them, it's very flexible, bro. You can eat meat, but then you don't have to eat meat. There's so much flexibility even within their own religion. And when there's so much flexibility and everything is unclear, like this, who do you worship? I worship the consciousness. What's consciousness? Are you conscious? Yeah. So technically I'm God as well. Yeah, what about Brahma? Yeah, he's God as well. He's the creator God. You know what I mean? So when you've got so many different views, oh yeah, you just meditate, you have your own relationship with God. What does that mean? Having your own relationship?
I don't know how are you an expert on Hinduism?
Because I've looked into it recently. I've got like a Hindi channel as well. I translate my
But
videos.
not only that, for example, when it comes to interest, like the Jewish people,
Usury, yeah.
they can charge interest to the Gentiles or the Goyim, which is us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they can't charge interest within themselves. We as Muslims, we don't exploit. It's a form of exploitation. The interest is a form of exploitation.
Yes.
So
We don't say Muslim or non-Muslim.
Exactly. So to us, it's like Muslim, non-Muslim. You're not allowed to do interest because interest is waging war against Allah and His Messenger.
Yeah.
So there are certain things we can't do where we cannot go and exploit others. And again, I'm not saying only Jewish people do that. What I'm saying is that
Don't be anti-Semitic.
in their belief system, that's true. They are allowed to charge interest to others and not amongst themselves. So there are certain things that as Muslims we cannot do because to us it's more important to obey God and not to take the rights of others. Because in Islam, taking the rights of others is very severe. That's why the Prophet, peace be upon him, he would refuse to do the burial prayer for an individual who owed money to somebody. So with us, it's so severe. If you think about it, when somebody commits a sin, there's 3 conditions. Number 1, you stop the sin, you hate the sin, and you try not to go back to the sin.
Yeah.
But there's a 4th condition if you wrong the right of someone. So if I wronged hijab, it's not just enough for me to ask for repentance, but I have to ask for him to forgive me. If I owe him a debt, I have to pay that debt. You know, so that's why it's very, very important. Islam takes great importance. Even before you enter paradise, there's a specific place where you will be asked if let's say me and hijab, we fell out. You know, that'll be the time where we would, inshallah, reconcile or ask for each other's their rights. So that's why I believe it plays a big, great thing with economics when it comes to maybe why Muslims are not doing as much. And also, yeah, and sadly, yeah, we do have to take accountability. But how many Muslims want to be scientists? They don't. They're too immersed. And that's why the Prophet, peace be upon him, he prophesies. Because Allah will put the love of the world into your heart and take the fear of your enemies from their hearts. So why? And this was a time when the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, nations will come together how we are eating food against you. And the companion said, oh, Messenger of Allah, is it because we will be small in numbers? He said, rather you'll be great in number.
That's right.
And that's exactly the time we're living in. Why? Because we have turned our back to our religion. If we followed our religion, because we are too immersed in the world, money, this, fame, that, etc. You're a Muslim. I came to Islam 11 years ago. Sure. That's what my lifestyle used to be. Money, cars, girls, what I drive, what I do, who thinks what of me. I was a slave to society. My God was the opposite gender, girls, the cars that I drive, the money that I make. That's what Allah says in the Quran. Have you seen the one who has multiple masters compared to the one who has one? I found my freedom when I enslaved myself to Allah. because I'm already like there was I was asking the philosopher who said man is born free, but
everyone chains.
but chains in chains everywhere,
Yeah.
and that
So-
is our asal. Islam has come to free us from the worship to the creation to the creator, because all of us, if you like it or not, you're influenced. You're influenced by one thing or another. Nobody comes and says to me, like I speak about these girls, and let's say for example wearing 8-inch heels in -5 degrees miniskirts, and I'm thinking, are you telling me you willingly wake up and spend 2.5 hours to do makeup, wear heels that hurt your ankle, that you need to walk barefoot on the pavement, and you're wearing a miniskirt that's freezing cold? You don't. You are influenced. You are subconsciously influenced. Islam has come to free you from the influence of the dunya to the creator. So there's many elements. That's just I believe my take on.
Can I ask you, because I don't know almost any other reverts from the people that in our circle. Warner has grown up with Islam. Mohammed Jabi grew up with Islam. You definitely grew up with Islam. What was it like to revert? And I'm wondering for the reverts that are watching this stream right now, what was the reception like with your family?
With my family, obviously, I've always told my story about my dad, my mom, like my family members. My background that I come from, they're very hostile towards Islam. They don't like Islam. Like with.
What's the religion is your background?
So the thing is, my dad's an atheist. My dad's side and my mom's side, they have Alawis. So they're like a sect of Shias. But if you look into the belief system, I've come across Alawis who say I'm an atheist Alawi. And I'm like, what do you mean you're an atheist Alawi? Like so it's there's no belief system there. So to me, like my dad was very, very harsh. He would say the thing that I hate the most has been born into my family. So he's talking about me. So he's like, the thing that I hate the most has come out of my family.
So it's not good.
No, he hates it. He hates it. Not that my dad is a bad person, but to him, he's like, this is the thing that I despise the most. And now my son has ended up, out of all religions, gone and found this religion. So to him, he really dislikes it. But he's a bit better now.
Man.
He's a bit better now.
How do you think reverts should introduce Islam to their family? Like right now, I wouldn't say I'm jealous, but being it's the month of Ramadan and seeing everybody here, the family aspect and the brotherhood and even Musa saying that he doesn't want to travel too much because like it's how important it is to spend iftar with your family. Obviously, my family, none of them are Muslims.
Same. Like I'm in the same boat. So when you could talk about jealousy, there's two types of jealousy. There's good jealousy and bad jealousy. So the jealousy you want is something that you want what others have for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as the bad type of jealousy is that you want what an individual has taken away from them. So what you have is there's nothing wrong with it, because you're saying I would like the same for myself, and that's normal human nature. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with it, just so you know, because I know sometimes we use the word jealousy, comes with a connotation of it's negative. No, in Islam, you ask Allah, oh Allah, I would like for myself one day, and that's when inshallah when you get married and you have kids, inshallah may Allah give you that, you taste that. And for myself, obviously it's hard because your family don't celebrate, like they don't fast. When you come home, you know there's food, etc. So yeah, it's.
So how do we how do we introduce Islam to our family?
You know
how do we show them the good parts of
the
that?
Biggest mistake.
Yeah, Ali, answer the question.
The
please.
biggest mistake. The biggest mistake I made in my life was meet this guy Zishan. No, I'm joking. It was one of the best things to meet these brothers.
Champ, this is for you, Champ. Champ, are you pleased?
You're speaking to the wrong chap.
Okay, what about champs?
That's what my wife should. That's the language she should use.
So,
Are you pleased?
so when it comes to this, Aki,
Thank you, bro.
the biggest mistake we make as new Muslims is the following: we're passionate, we're zealous. We you know when you've been in darkness and there's just a bit of sunlight, and you're just like, oh my gosh, what is that? So when we come to Islam, when we are so lost, that's why you see a lot of reverts. They hold into Islam that with their dear life because they've seen the ugly side of life. Right. So when you've seen the ugly side of life, bro, when you come and see, like it's like when you're married to an evil woman, and when you come and marry someone that's decent, bro, you're like, you know what, this woman, I have to hold her on my head, bro. So the thing is, what happens is when we come from Islam, we think we're passionate, everything's haram. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, I came for nothing but to perfect good character. Yeah, and this is something we lack greatly. We want people to see Islam in us, not let them hear it from us, like Zakir Naik, may Allah bless him, yeah? He quotes the Quran, Hadith, but let people see Islam in you. So for me, with my dad, for example, he would be very harsh in it. There was a time when he slapped me. Hijab believe about to joke that. So
Was that because you were ugly? He was so
Job's got no chill.
Produce that boy.
Yeah, by the way, viewers, you need to get used to our humor. He's trying to hijab, yeah?
Insult to my genetics.
Eugenics. No, you have to put me down.
So I didn't know you were friends before this.
Who, me and him?
Yes, I just assumed that everybody in the Dawah circle has beef.
Me and him?
I didn't know you guys knew each other.
Us three.
I haven't seen him.
We are above friends. Yeah, so
In the UK, most of us, mashallah, has pretty much met with each other. The beef, correct me if I'm wrong, is very little.
It's only with
yeah,
one group.
yeah. It's
And those guys are very small.
Yeah.
But that's what I
We
hear
need
about
to
the
name
most.
them.
Usually it's a group of brothers that have an issue with everybody on the other side. But yeah, man, the way you conduct yourself, it's very important. Because I can remember once my dad, I was on the other side of the room, and Bin Laden came out on the TV, yeah? And then my dad was like, come here. He's like, look, your friend's on TV, yeah? I took it serious. He's like, come here. I was like, what happened? I was like, he's going to take a shahada. He goes, come, look, your friend's on TV.
That's actually perfect. I want to ask you about that Mohammed Hijab.
I told them about Bin Laden.
No, genuinely, there was a big uprising on TikTok. I'm sure you've seen about people learning about Osama bin Laden. And
Oh yeah, the book. Was it the book?
the letter. And obviously there's some conspiracy theories about what really happened in 9/11. Do you think that did they lie about Osama bin Laden? Is it the truth? Because in America we hated him. John Cena, he got on TV and he celebrated at WWE saying we killed Osama bin Laden, and everybody clapped. And now John Cena's getting naked in front of the Grammys and everybody kind of seeing the truth about these people.
Oh my god, did it really go naked? I thought that was
Now that's real. Yeah, and then the front of the Oscars or whatever while accepting an award. So it's like, dude, should we really believe this? Because that was the part of the brainwashing for a long time. That was part of the Islamophobia, and I think the demonization of Osama bin Laden fed into a lot of people's heads about Islam.
So, but if you read Bin Laden's fatwa, he had two fatwas. One in 98. Well, a fatwa is a religious ruling or a verdict that's given. He done one in 98, and he done one directly or a few after.
There's no bad way of doing.
Yeah. If you read what he said in this, he said the main reason, one of the main reasons he gives for being at war with America is the Palestine issue. He says that you're killing our innocents, and we should be since you're killing our innocents, we can kill your innocents. Simple as that.
An eye for an eye.
He's basically that's his idea. Now, Islamically speaking, that's incorrect. So, to be clear, no scholar of Islam has ever said this before.
Okay.
For example, Ibn Abd al-Barr, who is a classical scholar of the 15th century, and this is before liberalism, before anything, he said there is consensus on the fact that you can't kill women and children in war. That is the view that I follow, yeah? Which is, according to Ibn Abd al-Barr, the consensus view. However, isn't it interesting that what Osama bin Laden is doing or saying, or his philosophy, is actually more moderate than what we're seeing in Israel. It's way more moderate. Because the way he sees it is, you kill one of our innocents, we kill one of your innocents. The way Israel sees it is, you kill one of our innocents,
we'll kill 3,000.
Yeah, we'll kill 5,000. So, if you're so upset about Osama bin Laden because he killed 3,000 people, and
You should hate
9/11
more.
Bro, in 9/11, how many people died? 3,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if 3,000 people is a problem, what is 30,000? Unless you want to tell me American blood is more important than Palestinian blood.
But that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, so if
White blood sounds more.
If you see a picture of Osama bin Laden, you show it to an average American, he'll feel very angry. And I'm not telling him you shouldn't feel that feeling.
Yeah.
So if that same American now is gonna be indifferent, that average American, to what's going on in Palestine, and 30,000, which is times 10, we've got 10 9/11s happening.
Bro, you're using that as a metric of death.
Yeah, what are you talking about, bro?
Yeah.
We're talking about 10 9/11s, brother. 10 9/11s. And that's just in the recent escapade of the Israelis. And you have genocidal intent. They're justifying all this kind of stuff. Well, people now start to wake up to the fact, not that Osama bin Laden was right all along and this and that. It's not that severe. We're not going that far. But what we're saying is that if you found that this was egregious, then what the hell is this with Israel? What the hell is this? Or it's 10 times the amount of death.
The mask drop.
And it's 10 times the amount of death. All the justification in the world. And it's not even one for one. Osama bin Laden's reasoning was more moderate than Netanyahu. Because bin Laden was saying, you killed one of our innocents, we're going to kill yours.
And
I'm saying that's wrong.
And that's haram in Islam.
And that's wrong.
Yeah.
Islamically, it's wrong. Right. But with Netanyahu saying, even though he doesn't want to say it like this, but some of his Herzog says something similar. which is that everyone's responsible. Everyone in Gaza is responsible. No, not in the whole thing.
He said, why do you think he quoted the Old Testament?
Amalekites.
He calls them Amalekites.
Yeah.
Do you know the story about
Bro,
Amalekites?
so who is more of the two?
Do you know
I'll
Amalekites?
be honest about the situation.
No.
Bro.
So they quote Amalekites. Amalekites is basically, I don't know if it's Hebrew chapter 15 verse 2 through a different verse, yeah? But it's basically talking about
For the Samuels.
First Samuel chapter 15 verse 2 to 3.
You always say it.
So yeah, exactly. They're literally, just think about this, yeah? The far right, Tommy Robinson and his lights, yeah? The intellectual midget, the bastard, yeah?
Yeah.
They're probably watching this. So the thing is this. They will come and say, ISIS is doing atrocities, it's quoting the Quran. And we will come and say, nowhere in the Quran does it tell us to go and kill innocent people.
Yeah.
Nowhere. So they would use this whole card of ISIS. Now the far right, with this whole issue, if you think about it, you've now got clear cut, because when ISIS was doing their madness, you had your late Muslim men, Muslim public, working the 9 to 5, whatever it is, condemning it. You had public speakers like us condemning it. You had the imams condemning it. You had the Muslim world leaders condemning it. But now look at what Israel's doing. What Israel's doing, they are outright propagating it with quoting their old scripture, which is the first Samuel chapter 15 verse 2 to 3, which said, go to Amalekites and kill men, women, children, babies, donkeys. I don't know what the donkey done there. They go and kill everybody.
And keep the young.
And keep them for themselves. So what I'm saying is this. How is it that they are directly quoting from their scripture? And not only are they quoting it, but they are carrying out the atrocities by killing men, women, and children. And if you notice very carefully, bro.
That's right.
It's not just the MPs. If you saw my video with Speaker's Corner, I was speaking to this Zionist, just some lady, random lady, yeah? And she clearly said, I do not believe that Palestinian kids are innocent. Outright, but can you imagine a Muslim woman in a hijab saying, I don't believe what ISIS is doing, the kids that they're killing, they're not innocent. Bro, I'll be in Guantanamo Bay. Bro, if I was to say such a statement, but they casually are saying we should kill more babies. They are mocking them. And you cannot make this stuff up. That's why I thank Israel. We could have not done it without them, bro. If I had a billion pound budget, I would have never orchestrated getting IDF soldiers to say what they say. They're doing it for free on camera. So we just ask Allah, and Allah is humiliating them and showing their reality, because the whole public opinion has changed.
So do you think they purposely didn't translate the works of Osama bin Laden so that we would misunderstand it, that they could paint him in a bad light?
Yeah.
There's also history of them not...
To be honest, they don't even publicize his actual fatwas and what he said. They just make narratives about him. The average American has not heard what Osama bin Laden has said.
They have no idea.
They don't understand his explanations.
Yeah.
His explanation, if an American said it as a white American said the same thing, after the equivalent of whatever it is that the American disaster happened by the hands of who he thinks has happened to, his initial complaint was about Palestine. If you look at what's happening, it's just that America is allied with Palestine. So if Iran had allied with one of America's enemies, and then such and such a thing happened, the same thing, you should reverse it. And then an American guy said what Osama bin Laden is saying, is that if you kill their enemy, we're going to kill their innocents, and kill their innocents. I don't think it would be that controversial. I think that would be allowed. I think the culture would allow that, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. I think we have effectively 1,000 Osama bin Laden in America. So we have 1 million of them in Israel. Do you know what I'm trying to say? The culture would allow that, bro. And we've seen that the culture allows that. They don't mind innocent people getting killed, so long as it's not their innocent. Yeah. That's what we found.
Yeah.
So, Zishan, how do we fix that sort of image with Islam? Because they've done a good job in the past 20 years of demonizing Islam by using figures like Osama bin Laden to misrepresent what he believed in and they seem like it's a violent religion when it's really very peaceful. Even I had struggles before I became a Muslim with that sort of programming.
Firstly, bro, it's important to understand that Islam is always going to be seen as the bad guy. Yeah? Reason being, because Islam goes against the very things that this society rests upon. For example, I was looking at the alcohol industry, which is a $1.5 trillion industry. Yeah, Islam comes along and says alcohol is forbidden. Yeah, but what about this and Old Testament and this and the New Testament? No, it's forbidden. There's no ifs or no buts. Gambling, $1 trillion industry in itself. Islam comes along and says, nope, that's forbidden. Yeah, alcohol forbidden, gambling forbidden, drugs is $500 billion industry. Nope, forbidden. The Mujahideen or the Taliban came in before the Americans were making all this money off the opium. Taliban come in and cut the opium. Yeah, whatever you might think about them, but cutting off drugs, which Nicaragua, the US were actually utilizing crack cocaine when it came to the Nicaraguans and the Sandinistas before it was already exposed. But here, no drugs. The sex industry, again, was $500 billion.
Right.
again, Islam comes along and says, nope, haram.
The Taliban did a good job of outlining poppy. And in Afghanistan,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
the drug problem completely
That's
decreased.
where the opium comes from, isn't it? So Islam comes along with categorical statements cutting at the roots of these cabal, these individuals that make money of people's miseries. For example, bro, just take just take interest. Now, interest is usury. Now, this is something which the world pretty much relies upon. But if you just break down what interest is,
slavery.
it's slavery, but also it not only promotes extravagance, but what it does is it harms the economy. Yeah. Now, how does it harm the economy? Someone that's borrowing something, now he's been given interest, he has to retract. He can't spend as much. Yeah. So now, the person that he's buying from, he's selling less stuff. Then the person that supplied him, then the farmer that supplied him, has a knock-on effect. As Muslims, we come along and say sadaqah. So this helps the economy and it reduces extravagance as well. So you will see within the inbuilt systems of Islam that
extravagance.
But this isn't extravagant. This is
This
love.
looks extravagant. People in the chat are saying all Muslims do is eat. I just do want to remind you guys, it's Ramadan. We did not eat all day long.
Exactly.
Does anyone want this?
And this is thanks to the
We
brother's
can't even fit it all
contact.
here.
He obviously wants to
There's no more space here.
share.
No, you keep it there.
Yeah.
So, bro, even when you look at history,
You know these small ones? Can I have one?
Small
Like-
vessel.
Yeah.
I don't get anything like it. Well, like it's tongue to waste. It's just
And one more of this.
They said a few desserts.
One more of this.
yeah. Right? Even when it comes to
Can I have that one? Red.
like anyone who's in control and who's in power,
Yeah, but red.
divide and rule has always been the be-all and end-all. For example, if you look in history, there was an actual group called the Bavarian Illuminati. Not the Illuminati, the Bavarian Illuminati. They were scapegoated. After them came the Catholics. After them came the blacks. After them came the this, the that. Now it's just the turn of the Muslims. One of my neighbors, he's black, and he's not a Muslim, but he just laughs with me and he says, now it's just your turn. Before it was our turn, now it's just your turn. The buck has been passed on, but the buck will stay with us because all the powers that be, they're saying this is a man, no, there is no man, there is no woman. They're trying to change the reality from in front of you. There is no right, there is no wrong. There's no objective morality, Sneeko. There's nothing. There's no right or wrong. Somebody doing a surgery is the same as somebody scratching his ass, to put it frankly. So when there's no morality, when interest is okay as long as you're making money, as long as you're helping, and individualism, it's fine, as long as you don't hurt somebody else. What does hurt somebody else mean? It doesn't matter. We'll talk about that later. Hey, look at this guy. There's a boxing fight going on. Oh, there's a cricket match going on. Oh, there's a football match. Oh,
That bread,
okay.
then
What
what?
was that? Oh, Netflix. $1 billion for a Star Wars series. Oh, what's that?
1 billion, bro.
Yeah, 1 billion. That was the budget. So when these sorts of budgets are given there, but when you look at what we're spending, it's not comparable. So Islam will always be a threat to them because even as Speaker Kono, you and I, we were there today. When you spoke to Jewish people, they do not claim their book is preserved. They do not even profess that is the same book that was there before. Christians, they do not profess that. Hindus don't profess that. Muslims do.
Yeah, right.
Muslims profess it's the same exact book. We can prove. We have manuscripts. We have a live language. We have people that memorize it from cover to cover. On this table, I will recite something from the Quran. I will make a mistake. 3-4 brothers will be, that's wrong. But if you do that with the New Testament, non-existent. No one will know, bro. So with Islam, because it's preserved, because it's the last line of defense, no prophet to come after Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, that Islam is always going to be a threat to them. It's always going to be a threat to the economy. It's going to be a threat to the ideological manipulation. Because now Islam is the last defense, like you mentioned also.
And it's the solution. That's why they see it as a threat, because it's a solution to all these modern slavery problems.
Absolutely.
But it's funny, the Speaker's Corner, I think it strengthened my faith. Even though it's not good dawah over there, I'm sure you guys enjoy it for the mental sparring aspect of it. But
which one of my videos led you to the Shahada?
Did you see how there was an awkward pause there?
I was trying to remember.
I'm trying to recall which.
When I asked Hamza Shemaev, I said to him, so who are the great speakers that you listen to in Islam? And I sat back and waited for it. I was like... But you know, this is actually very interesting because the other day, maybe this is like 7 or 8 days ago, I reread a book, a classic by Samuel Huntington. I'm classic. You know, The Clash of Civilization. And these come across? No. It's a very important work, actually. It's a very important work. In my other graduate degree, I went through that book because it was like it was a very important book. And I just reread it again because a lot of what's happening now, the culture clash, I wanted to kind of revisit it. And the thesis of the book, Samuel P. Huntington, he wrote this 1998 article in a journal called Foreign Affairs. And in it, what he does is that he divides the world's civilization into 7. He says the world is effectively 7 civilizations. And he tells you what they are. He says it's the Western civilization, it's the Orthodox civilization, like Russian Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox. He says it's the African, I don't know why he says that, because that's a mistake, I think. He says it's the African civilization. There's one African, there's not. Well, I think he means by that, like, tribal African, whatever that means. And then he says the Japanese, he makes that into a civilization by itself. And the Indian civilization, I think he makes that into a civilization itself. Like Hindu or something. And then the Islamic, China, and not India. I don't think it was China. And then the last one is the Islamic civilization. And effectively, the thesis of this book is that in the end of times, we're moving towards a culture clash between different civilizations, and the clash is most likely to happen effectively between the West and Islam. That's his thesis.
When was this written?
This 1997, 98. Oh. He died in 2001 or 2002.
They killed him.
No, I don't think they would.
Natural death.
He was an advisor to the government. He was an advisor to the government.
Okay.
So he in the end of his book, he actually gave advice to U.S. government of how to destroy the Islamic civilization. He did it in a subtle way. He said he just said you have to divide and conquer. He said you have to divide them, create this unity among them. Which is, we're seeing that. If you see how the Muslim world is even mapped out now, it's just like that. But the point is that it's very interesting, okay? If you look at the other civilizations, right? China and Russia, the two biggest threats, military threats and economic threats right now to the Axis. Right? Both of them, they don't have a key thing. And this is something that Huntington...
What do you mean a key thing?
I'll tell you what the key thing is.
The missing recipe.
A missing thing. So China has effectively adopted communism in the past. With Mao, they were communists. Now they're just capitalists. He calls it the Confucianist civilization. They don't really have an expansionist policy. They don't have an ideology, an idea that they can expand to the rest of the world.
Manifest destiny.
Yeah, they don't have the idea of a manifest destiny, right? And Russia, the same thing, really. There's only little differences between the Russian civilization and the Western civilization. They really believe in the same religion or Christianity or whatever. What's the difference? It's an authoritarian regime. There's nothing there that you can export to the rest of the world. Islam is the only civilization which has the potential to expand, to export its ideas, and to overtake the liberal world order. And that's why I think he focused on Islam. He really focused on it. He was worried of Islam the most. Because although Russia and China, from that perspective, there are two huge powers. Russia less so now, militarily. China's really growing. The Americans are very scared of China. But the Chinese can't really overtake America. Let's be honest. Can the Chinese go in and overtake America, like militarily? Very difficult. Very difficult. Honestly, very difficult. Number one. Number two, what are they going to... If they do, let's do a thought experiment. Let's say they overtake the world. The Chinese overtake the world. Yeah?
What are they going to bring?
What are they going to bring to the table? What are you now exporting? Confucianism? They don't care about export. They've never been expansionists like that. China have always cared about their own kind of thing. They don't care about export. They know Islam is expansionist. That's what they're worried about. That we have a system which replaces their system. and it's intelligible. It's got rituals attached to it. It's got religion attached to it. It's got worldview attached to it. That's why they have to attack Islam, bro. Because I think they're all following the line. People like Bernard Lewis, who wrote a book called What Went Wrong with Islam. Samuel P. Huntington. And there was a guy who was the student of Huntington called Fukuyama.
Francis Fukuyama.
Yeah. A Japanese guy, no?
Yeah. End of history.
End of history. But he had the idea that that's it, the West has won and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, nothing needs to be done. Francis Fukuyama. They do, you would agree, right? They listen to these guys. I think that the administrations listen to these guys. They don't listen to the liberals. When it comes to foreign policy and stuff, they listen to these kinds of guys. And I think that what you're seeing with the coalition of the media and the governments against Islam is because they know if Islam unites and it grows, it becomes an immediate challenger and competitor to their world order. So this is expected. If I was the American, put it this way, if I was the Americans and I believed in what they believe, I would tell them exactly what Samuel P. Huntington told them. Divide these guys. If these guys come together, it's a nightmare for all of us.
So what is the Chinese government, what is the CCP doing to the Muslims right now? I hear a lot of different, it's hard to find real information about what's going on over there.
We've interviewed people and it's pretty clear. I mean, first-hand witness testimonies that they are putting them in these kind of concentration camps. They're trying to change them. Remember, it's an authoritarian regime. They consider the Turkic Muslims, East Turkestan, they consider them to be a threat because they have a different identity. So they want to try and amalgamate them to the culture. They're trying to assimilate them to the culture. And they try to do it by force because Islam is a very strong culture. So the way they're trying to erase it is they're trying to put people in different places, put kids in compulsory education, separate mother from child. We've seen all these things. What exactly? Well, it's China, so they're pretty strong at being able to safeguard themselves from criticism, to do it under surveillance to a certain place, and so you won't be able to see it like social media, like what you see in Palestine. That's the difference. Who's gonna? They're not gonna allow that.
And who can criticize them?
They don't have the equivalent of Hamas.
Yeah.
They don't have that. They don't have the equivalent of a resistance group. They are literally under the mercy of this one of the strongest armies in the world.
You know they don't have Google in China.
Yeah, most social media is not allowed in China.
Yeah. That's another point as well.
Yeah, no WhatsApp, no YouTube.
Yeah.
Wow, they got their own WeChat.
Yeah. So I was trying to make this as a complimentary point because Zishan was making the point that look, there's an economic disincentive because Islam abolishes a lot of stuff that it's their bread and butter, but there's also a civilizational disincentive, and that is they realize that if Islam puts itself together as civilization, it becomes the immediate competitor, and it has the ability to overtake, and it has overtaken before. All you have to do is look at the history. It's overtaken so many times before. They know what we're capable of, so they have to suppress us.
Without sort of appealing to conspiracy,
Yeah.
you know, everything you said about, Francis Fukuyama and these lot.
Yeah.
200 years ago, there was a guy by the name of Albert Pike.
Okay.
I remember him. Albert Pike, he's a first 33-degree Freemason. In one of his books, he does mention that the final battle will be between the West
Really?
and Islam.
What's his name?
Albert Pike. He mentions this 200 years
You've heard of that?
American general, yeah. So it's a spiritual thing as well.
Apparently, they say he claimed himself that he could summon Lucifer anytime he wanted. That's what he would claim himself.
Wow, well,
Yeah.
amazing.
And apparently, Lucifer spoke to him in a dream, and he orchestrated 3 world wars through this dream. And World War I and World War II already happened.
What was he?
Albert Pike. He's, I think, an American general.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, a 33-degree Freemason.
My God.
Yeah.
Allah, bro. But we have to be honest. I'm not going into too much detail because last time I've seen someone speak about this, their video was actually taken down.
Well, we're on Rumble. We got free speech over here. We'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say it anyway. Which is, I'll be honest, Akhi, and I'm not gonna. There are these ahadith, okay, about the end of times, and these ahadith basically say, and they're very specific hadiths, bro. And I can't tell you what they mean exactly, but they say at the end of times, the Muslims are going to make an alliance with Al-Rum. Now, Al-Rum could either be one of two people. There are two, to put it in Huntington terms, civilizations which are connected to Al-Rum now, which is the West and the Eastern Orthodox, like the Russians. And it says that they're going to make a tahaluf, or they're going to make an alliance in the end of days. And there's going to be a great war that takes place. And this great war is going to have an army which is composed of 12 flags. And each flag has 80,000 people inside of it. Now, if you add that up, it's 960,000 people. That's 1 million people, bro. In the medieval period, you don't find armies that big. This was not a medieval army. This is a modern-day army. The biggest army in the world today, an active reserve, active force, is the Chinese army. And there's 1 million people in that, bro, you know? So that's 1 million people. It's a Chinese army. We're talking about an army. This hadith is referring to something very modern, where there will be an army of 1 million people, bro. An army of 1 million. The entire, what would be the equivalent of the entire active personnel of the biggest army in the world. Now, America doesn't have that many. It has like what? 400,000, 500,000, something like that. Active personnel, not reservists. Active personnel. So the point I'm making to you is, it then says that these people, that this rule, they will go against the alliance, and basically it's going to signal the end of days, bro. This is when the Mahdi is coming, and Dajjal, and the Ya'juj, all that stuff is going to happen. But it seems to me, Akhi, everything is clearly moving in that direction.
When is the end? When is the Dajjal going to show up? Do you think it's coming real soon?
It's Allah Alam, but here's the thing. Brother mentioned it before yesterday. There's, the minor signs and the major signs of the Day of Judgment. Yeah.
Right.
The minor signs are almost all done.
Yeah.
Which is mad, because there's so many of them. There's like 50 or 60 of them. So one of them was like, let me give you an example of something. One of them was the conquest of Jerusalem. Islam conquered Jerusalem in the first 10 years of Islam with Umar bin Khattab. Yeah, that was done quickly. So another one is like, for example, the completing of the tall buildings. We talked about that yesterday.
Dubai.
Another one is interest, the spread of interest. Well, can you imagine this? There's a hadith that says that interest will be so widespread. Men lam yakulhu asabethu min ghubari. Whoever doesn't consume the interest, he will be afflicted by its dust. That's a hadith. Bro, one of the things that the Prophet said is that there will be sexually transmitted diseases. But by the way, not just STDs. STDs that will come about, there'll be advent of STDs due to sexual promiscuity.
Monkeypox.
There's 1 million people in London that have STDs.
Yeah, 1 million people, bro.
Ali, did you get monkeypox?
You know.
He didn't answer though.
You know what's funny? I remember when this was going around, yeah. I was vomiting, I was sick, yeah, and there was these spots around my back, yeah. No. Let me tell you, yeah. So the ambulance, they came, they took me, yeah. And then I was in the ambulance, and then I can hear the nurses going, "We can't take him in. We need to. Good, we can't take him in. We need to see if there's monkeypox there."
No way.
And I was like, "What's the monkeypox about, bro?" And then I found that later. Yeah.
Did they ask you if you were homosexual? Sorry.
No, they were just like, "Oh, is it like that?"
Bro, I came across a hadith talking about homosexuality.
But it says there'll be new disease that's never heard of before.
Yeah, that's authentic. There's a weak hadith, very interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know how it goes? It's a weak hadith, I mean clear. It's in Tabarat al-Kubra of Tabarani. It goes, and yaktafa al-rajulu bil-rajuli wal-mar'atu bil-mar'a. That a man will be satisfied with only a man. He doesn't need a woman in his life. So he'll be gay. Okay? And a woman will be satisfied with, she's lesbian, akhi. Bro, even, do you know, like...
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
God's moving wet.
There is even, do you know the feminist movement? That the woman will get into the workforce. There's a hadith talking about that. That the woman will now go into the workforce.
So now we're going to see the major signs of the end times come in.
Yeah, so effectively, like I would say 95% of the minor signs.
So you know what's interesting about what the Prophet ﷺ said? I don't know if it's authentic. Well, once the minor signs are done, by the way, Imam Mahdi come in. Some say it's a minor sign, some say it's a major sign.
Yeah.
So now what they say is that the major signs will happen, like a bead, when you cut a bead.
Yeah.
And it will fall one after another.
Yeah, it'll be
the major signs will happen one after another. So it wouldn't be like a time gap. So it just shows you that we are literally like on the verge of real life.
Can I say that I'm learning more about this, and I was speaking to a Jewish fan of mine. He came up to me and he was like, "Oh, why do you speak that? Why? I'm not anti-Semitic at all, but I'll speak about all religions." And so I was learning more. I brought him on stream again, and I was telling him about how Jesus is the Messiah in Islam, because he's saying that we don't believe in Jesus, but it's actually a misconception that Christians don't realize that we believe that Jesus is the Messiah.
Yeah.
And I was asking him what he believes, and he was describing the Jewish Messiah. And I'd never heard about this term before. Well, I don't remember what the word is. Mashiach? Yeah, something like that. And basically in Islam, the Jal is the Mashiach. Their own Messiah is the Jal in Islam.
Exactly. Let me ask you a question. I speak to some Christians, yeah? They come and say, Islam is the Dajjal's religion, etc. I say to them, very simple. Dajjal is going to be a being, human being, who is going to claim what? That he is God. And he's going to do what? Miracles. Who believes that God is a man and does miracles?
The Christians. The Trinitarian Christians.
So who's going to fall for the trap of, and of course we have creations that there'll be...
Like Islam, bro.
As well. The point is this. So I'm
like,
So the point is this, Aki. If you think about it, you guys are the ones that believe God can become a man and will do miracles. So that, I don't know, doesn't wake you up. Hello? And it just doesn't. You can see, I'm like, if there's anyone that's going to follow the Dajjal, it's you. Because he's going to come and say, I'm God, I'm divine. What? He can't make himself look like Jesus and put some marks on his hand? So the point is here, it's very clear. Like, is it really difficult? He's going to control the weather. There's so many things even in the Bible it says. So, again, they are the ones that's going to follow that message.
In defense of the Christians, because there's a lot of them watching, I did see a video, I want to bring it up in defense of them, of, I think it was nearby in England somewhere, there was this whole masjid, and there was a guy going, choo, choo.
Oh, choo.
Choof. The choof.
With that video reacted to
Choof.
Yeah, choof guy.
And then they're all doing this choof thing and thinking that it's going to go give them, well, I don't know what it was.
Innovation.
But the whole masjid was believing in choof. Yeah. And then these are the people that are going to fall. These are the people that will believe in the Jal when the Jal comes.
I thought that was Pakistan. Bro, it was Birmingham.
Am I wrong?
It was Birmingham, bro. Bro, when I heard that, I thought it was Pakistan. It was Birmingham. They were holding their hands like this. It was in Birmingham. In Birmingham was happening. But the who's going to be the majority of followers of the Dajjal? Like, well, the ones that...
The choof people are going to fall for it.
Women are going to...
Women too, of course.
No.
It was Bradford, right?
I mean, the women are naturally inherently followers by design.
Group mentality, etc. They are naturally bound that.
And what does the hadith say?
They said you will have to chain them up. Yani, we're not asking to chain anybody up here.
She likes that.
Because that I was wild.
Zisha, do you see signs of the end times? Or is this paranoid thinking? Is it even worth speaking about? Because it's all prophesized and it's out of our control.
One thing that I've noticed, and this was happening even in India as well, that there's this prophecy called Ghazwa-e-Hind, the Battle of Hind. And what happens with these prophecies is sometimes we rely too much on these prophecies, and we say, oh, it's gonna be this particular thing. The end times are coming. Even when I post videos, and it becomes more and more crazier with regards to what sort of stuff is going on, and it's all current affairs, just current affairs stuff that's going on. I see people going, the day of judgment is close now. The Dajjal is going to be here very soon. But we don't know how long it's going to take. Might take 1 year, might take 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, 100 years, 200 years. You just don't know. And this whole thing that, yes, the signs of the day of judgment are going to happen. They're going to happen when they're going to happen. But for us as people living, to just rely on them and go, you know what? Forget it. I can't do anything. I just lock everything off. Or like, he says it tongue in cheek. I'm ready for the asteroid now.
Yeah, you know.
So obviously, it doesn't mean it like that. But the thing is that when some people rely on it too much, and it leads to inaction, and they think, you know what, it's going to happen soon. We don't know when it's going to happen. Yes, it's enough of a sign for us to realize that, you know what, years and times. And yes, these are not good things to be happening. These are not things to be celebrated. However, we continue doing whatever's in our power. For example, we go Speaker's Corner, we continue going Speaker's Corner. Right. Even if the Day of Judgment comes as a narration to suggest that even if you're planting something, finish planting it. Yeah, because that's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. Don't stop doing something just because, Day of Judgment, I'll just leave this here. Because you're still supposed to finish what you're doing, and you still,
Not only that, when it comes to the Day of Judgment, why are we so fixated on Dajjal, Messiah, this, that? There's a hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him, of a young boy. And I think that, in a nutshell, paraphrasing, he says that before he dies, he'll see the Day of Judgment. Something along those lines. But the point was what? The moment you die is your day of judgment. The moment you die, that's the hereafter. That's all that unseen thing you want to wait for the judge to get. That you're going to see more of that. Work on the day of judgment that's going to start for you when you die, and that can be any second. Not forget 10 years. When is the judge coming? 50 years. Well, even predict it. Forget that. The moment you die,
We're judging that.
exactly. The moment you die is your day of judgment, because you're going to see the unseen. You're going to be seeing those angels that we were talking about. You're going to be asked the questions. So your day of judgment is that. Worry about that, because people are very speculating. Like, it's far away. Forget that. Your day of judgment will start the day you die. So work on that day. And it just amazes me. Many people are working on, like, graduating from university. When I pass, they celebrated. They're so fixated. People call me, but please make dua that I pass my exams. I'm like, it's good. Like, I appreciate effort. But do you put the same effort to the exam? It's your destiny, man. That's going to be the thing that when the angel of death comes and takes your soul. And if I was deep in this a couple of years ago, I spoke to you as well, is that just think about it. The most important thing in my life is this. The moment I die, and I'm not saying that the angels have a mouth or nothing, but I just want to know, I just want to hear the following. Come out to the mercy. I'm done, bro. That's the thing that I've been waiting for all my life. Coming out to the mercy of Allah. Because if they say come out to the wrath of your Lord,
These are the two options.
these are the two options, by the way. So when our soul is taken, the angels will either come and say come out to the mercy of your Lord, or come out to the wrath of your Lord. Yeah. The most important thing for any believer is when I die, that inshallah it will be that the angels say come out to the mercy of your Lord. The moment they say mercy, bro, it's like, bro, alhamdulillah, past. That's all I care about. But I don't care about this or that. But not many people are fixated on that. It's like a game for the Netflix. When's the Dajjal coming? When's the Messiah?
Because even if these things are happening, like, how does it affect your daily life?
It doesn't.
You know what I mean?
And also, the ball is...
But it does show you the reality of these things as well. And you know, obviously you made a fantastic point, but also one of the ways we could possibly predict when it's happening is pay attention to the people who's waiting for him. If these so-called people are waiting for him, and they're going to do the rituals in order to, give the Dajjal his powers, then why don't we just keep our eye on them? And
Exactly. And instead of waiting for Mahdi, why don't you prepare to be like him?
Yeah.
Everyone's like waiting for a Mahdi. The Mahdi's come. Brother, why don't you try to be like him? Why are you waiting for a savior? Why don't you start working? If the Ummah, if everybody did their part, bro, wallahi, people talk about, oh, we need to advise that sister doesn't wear the hijab correctly, or that brother is smoking. If everybody focus on their family and fix their family, nobody needs to want another family.
That's such a good point. Because even our du'as as well, when we supplicate, now is Ramadan, before we open our fast, the du'a that we make, there's a strong possibility of it being accepted. And one of the du'as should be, oh Allah, think about your lineage. Oh Allah, make my children such that they will be on the side of the Mahdi, that they'll be on the side of Isa alayhi salam, rather than the side of the Dajjal. Rather than disgracing the religion, they will be honoring the religion. And that's the thing. There was a sheikh who's somewhat famous now, and they said, you know what made you come on the right path? He said, when I would get up in the morning and I would come down the stairs, I could hear my father weeping on the prayer mat, oh Allah, guide my son. And he said that when I would see somebody as masculine as him, and he has his stuff together, but he's on the prayer mat and he's crying. And who is he crying for? He's crying for me. He said that made me, that really kind of got to me. So it's stuff like this, that hearing stuff like that, like the brother rightly said, it should get us to it should motivate us into action. That, you know what, this is what I say in some of my videos towards the end, that after mentioning the current affair, I say, if this isn't going to wake you up, if this isn't going to show you that now is the time to change, now is the time to turn closer to Allah, then when is? You know what I mean? If you've got all these signs taking place, what are you waiting for? You know what I mean? Like, now is the time.
Before I go to the next question, I have to change the camera battery if you give me 10 seconds further.
Where do you stream this?
Rumble.
What was that thing about? I heard you mention name in the...
Parliament.
Not the Parliament, the American...
You were mentioning the Parliament, no?
Yeah, it's in the Senate. Something about... well, I think mention name about what?
They said it was promoting hatred in the United States for...
I can't believe your name was mentioned.
Yeah.
What was that?
In the Senate
What did you
here.
say? Something about anti-Semitism.
The street clip was straight anti-Semitism. Yeah. That's the number one.
Really?
That's the number one. Are we back? Yeah, we're back. I want to. So we went to Speaker's Corner today. You were all there. Yeah. I want to ask all of you, like, what do you get specifically out of that? Because I was talking to my friends and we were trying to figure it out. It was pretty entertaining. It's a fun playground for adults. It's good to go back and forth. Of course, like the people that watch the stream, they love to debate about stuff like this all day. Ultimately, a lot of it is kind of a waste of time for most people, but it's a good mental exercise. I'm wondering,
But before we get there, can I share a couple of things with you, Aki?
okay,
Because I was just on the. I find it interesting. Before we close the door on the minor psychology things. There's some hadith that I came across recently. Yeah, very interesting about the signs of the Day of Judgment, because I think this actually constitutes one of the best arguments for the truth of Islam. Because you don't need to have linguistic ability, or we already spoke about some of the stuff before. Like for instance, the intishar al-riba, or the idea that interest will increase, and zina, for example, will lead to STDs, or like the idea of prosecuting this STDs, the tall buildings where Islam will spread, what countries and so on. But let me give you some other hadiths, very interesting, yeah? This is narrated by Umayr ibn Ishaq. He said, a woman will be taken and her stomach will be ripped open. Then what is in her womb will be taken out and discarded for fear of giving birth. This is a hadith, authentic. Can you imagine? Can you see how deep that is?
Yeah.
I mean, these are the kind of things that is predicted before the Day of Judgment. So let me we'll say again, yeah?
Again, one more time.
Yeah. That Abu Hurairah, radiallahu anhu, narrated, and this is in Musannaf ibn Abi Shayba, yeah? It's authentic hadith. It says, a woman will be taken, yes, and her stomach will be ripped open. Then what is in her womb will be taken out and discarded for fear of giving birth. This is clear what it's talking about.
right.
It's talking about
Abortion, which is
But can you imagine?
more common than ever.
That is so precise.
Specific to.
That is unbelievably precise.
They're having, they celebrate abortions in the street in New York. They have yell for abortion, where women will go on the street and they'll celebrate it like a parade.
Another thing that came to mind, I don't know if it raised about, but isn't that a C-section because a woman is afraid of giving monthly birth?
Could be.
And it's a C-section.
Could be. So listen to this, yeah. Another thing which is mentioned, which is really powerful, is there's a hadith. It goes as follows, yeah. The hour will not be established until you fight a Turk, yeah. Who are these? Turkish. it's not Turkish, because Turkey is a modern nation.
Yeah.
It's not talking about Turkish people. It's talking about Turkic people, and there's a difference. So like the Mongols and some of their Turkics. So listen to what it says, yeah? People with small eyes, red faces, and flat nose.
Asians?
Yeah, but it's not just any Asians. It's very specific Asians. Okay, who is it? Their faces will look like shields coated with leather. Their hour will not be established till you fight with people whose shoes are made of hair. Now, these people, and I'll give you another hadith. This is Bukhari, by the way. This hadith coming up here is Sunan Abu Dawud. Because some of my people will align on low-lying ground, which they call Al-Basra, beside a river called Dijla, the Tigris. Over there is a bridge. Its people will be numerous, and it will be one of the capital cities of immigrants. At the end of time, the descendants of Qantara will come with broad faces, small eyes that align on the bank of the river. The town's inhabitants will then separate into 3 sections, one of which will follow cattle and live in the desert and perish, another which will seek security for themselves and perish, but a third will put their children behind their backs and fight the invaders, and they will be the martyrs. So who is this talking about? It's very clearly talking about the Mongols. It is hundreds. Now, this, if you look at what happened with the Mongols, it's one of the most significant historical moments ever. You just research the Mongols and how the Mongols interacted with the Muslims. There was a massive fight that took between the Mongols and the Muslims. It led to actually the Mongols converting to Islam. There's a whole history behind that. But the precision of that hadith, because those Mongols, bro, they had shoes that were made out of hair. Yeah. The same thing that is mentioned in that hadith exactly happened. Now, you imagine, Constantinople is mentioned in hadith, which is the crown jewel of the Roman Empire. That will be overtaken.
It's Istanbul today.
Istanbul today. You had Jerusalem mentioned in the hadith. That will be overtaken. You have the Mongols. You have the most significant events in history between the time of the Prophet and now, spelled out in the most precise way. So, do you know when, like, for example, there's a prediction that is made of Quran Sunnah. it's there to show us that if God can get all of these so right, so when it comes to Ad-Dajjal, when it comes to Al-Mahdi, when it comes to the second coming of Jesus Christ, if there's already proof that these prophecies came correct like that, then surely we should accept, okay, it's only a matter of time now, bro. Because that's why this is the benefit of the minor signs of the Day of Judgment. Bro, one of the minor signs is that obesity will become widespread. Obesity, bro, is mentioned in Hadith.
It's the fattest America's ever been, and London too.
Yeah, the UK, and bro, it's unbelievable how much sophistication and precision there is. Some general trends I mentioned. For example, that knowledge will become very widespread, extremely widespread. Literacy, written material will be overly widespread, but also that money will be completely widespread.
Not only that, but with knowledge widespread, there will be ignorance.
Ignorance will be
It's very
widespread.
profound, because
Yes.
everyone relies on deal with it.
Yes.
Because when you think about knowledge and widespread,
Interesting.
people more knowledge, not rather than being ignorant.
That's a very good
Yes.
point. So you have these two almost, you would not think that these two trends will come together, but in one aspect, from another perspective, actually, despite the increase of knowledge,
There'll be-
it's still ignorant.
So it's like having tons of books, but no one's reading them.
Yes, why? Because Google, you can just Google it. And there's no memorization.
Adiyat,
What about-
yes. That's a good one.
Women will be naked but clothed.
Yeah.
That's Hadith.
Yeah.
Yes. So look at this. Look at this. Muslim. Yeah. So look at,
Bikinis, and you know the Bella sisters, sometimes they wear clothes
Bro,
that...
like this tight clothing, bro.
Spandex.
Yeah, bro.
You know, when you can see everything,
Yeah.
because there's some that are absolute see-through, but
Yes.
they've got a clasp, but you can see everything.
bro, do you know that hadith is so interesting? Because this is Sahih Muslim. The way it goes is this: it goes that there will be a time, yeah, where people will be traveling in these things called a suruj. Yeah, it's called suruj. I'll explain what this means.
Is that authentic?
It's authentic, Sahih Muslim. Sahih Muslim, yeah. It's the second most authentic book in Islam. After, like, obviously the Quran, Bukhari and Muslim. And it says that they will be traveling and they will be reclining inside these suruj. Suruj is a name for a ship, okay? Now, classically, you had these Roman ships which actually had little wheels on them. So it's saying that you have some ship-like things that are going to be moving around on the ground, on the earth. And people are going to be reclining inside of them. Listen to this, yeah? They're going to be reclining inside of them. And inside of this vehicle, there's going to be women that, what are they dressed like? Adiyat Kasiyat. Adiyat Kasiyat means they're dressed, but they're clothed, but they appear unclothed. Now, effectively, all the shurrah have said this means what? Two things. It means that their clothes are so tight that they might as well be naked.
That's Miami. That's every girl in Miami you see walk around
Yeah,
with gender.
exactly.
Clothes are so tight you see the whole body.
Yeah. Or it could mean that they're wearing such little clothes that if this doesn't classify as covering.
It doesn't really.
Yeah, it doesn't classify as
really
covering.
does.
It doesn't classify. You're not covering yourself. That's not the way that traditionally how someone would cover themselves. So, can you imagine, bro? These are the things that the kinds of examples of what the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said would happen before the Day of Judgment, before Ad-Dajjal, before all of these things which we're talking about. Because it may seem theoretical, but if we're talking about 90%, and I've just given you like only 10 examples, yeah, 10 or 15 examples, 90% of this kind of stuff, 90 to 95% has come true. It seems incredulous. This other stuff is not going to happen, but it will happen quickly, bro. And I think it's going to happen. It might happen in all our lifetimes. The Day of Judgment might happen in all of our lifetimes. It's a possibility. We don't know what it's going to be.
What are some signs of the end times in the Israel-Palestine conflict right now? I was speaking to the Warner, and sometimes like I've heard talks of how Israel might be guarding some books and some information, that there's something deeper that's happening in this war that has to do.
So the thing is, yeah, I actually looked into this because I was interested, because I came across these hadiths about Gaza in particular, Gaza. The hadiths about
There's
Gaza.
hadith about Gaza.
There's hadiths about Gaza. However, all of the hadiths about Gaza are weak.
About the tree. What about the tree?
The Ghadkhat, but that's different. Let me get to the Gaza one. I can read it for you if you like.
Okay.
Because actually, yes, Hanafi sent me this, and I was.
Oh, the Sham.
1 second, let me get
No,
it.
no, come on.
Yeah, as he's getting that, there's something that's just come out a couple of days
Thank
ago.
you for reading that. I didn't know what you were looking at. I thought he was texting you to the board.
Yeah, no, he's finding it. but there's something called the red heifer.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, so that's something
That's Hadith.
So this is a prophecy of the Jews. So they believe that they need to find. So again, I'm paraphrasing. You can jump in, which is they need to find a red heifer that fulfills certain criteria. It needs to be clean, unblemished. It needs to be red. It needs to be like this, like that. For years, decades, centuries, possibly even, they've been searching for it, and they haven't found it. However, only recently they found 5 in Texas.
Yeah.
And using American Airlines, they've transported them over, and they believe that this red heifer, once it's sacrificed and it's burnt, and there are certain pure priests, then when that whole situation is cleared, then Aqsa,
The Temple Mount.
the Temple Mount,
Masjid al-Aqsa.
yeah, Masjid al-Aqsa. You know Masjid al-Aqsa? So that's the third holiest place in Islam.
Where is that?
So,
Okay, that wasn't bombed, was it?
No, so that's a mosque, isn't it? That's
like a courtyard.
yeah. Al-Aqsa is a courtyard. There's like yes. So that whole courtyard is called Aqsa.
Okay.
So that, of course, Muslims go there. It's the third holiest site, and alhamdulillah, fantastic. But for years they've been, weakening. Some people say that they've been weakening the foundations. This used to be like a fringe opinion that they want to build the third temple, the Temple of Solomon up there.
They want to build it there.
So it was a very fringe opinion, but now it's so mainstream, even in politics, that this is something that is ridiculous to deny. And they say
Why do they need to build the third temple for the coming of him?
for the coming of they say the Messiah of
The John.
yeah. So the evangelicals are trying to continue this as well, no, rather to catalyze this, because they believe that of course the Messiah is going to come. So they are aligning in this.
Do the Jews admit that they're waiting for the coming of the Antichrist?
Yeah.
No, of course.
No?
They
You
don't say
say,
anti.
you say yes, you say no.
No, Antichrist. It's the Messiah. What we say is Dajjal, like you said. Remember,
Because they don't accept
they
Jesus.
think,
So how? Why did they accept that as the Antichrist if it's?
no. They going to think it's the Messiah, but it's going to be the Antichrist. The Jews are going to follow them. The Christians are going to follow him. And not only that, they lose it. They said 40 from Khorasan or somewhere. They're going to have a following, but it's really Antichrist in reality.
But just to finish this point,
And the atheists are as well going to follow him, right?
because they found the red heifer, now the prophecy they're going to, once they found it in April, they're saying that that's when they're going to enact this ceremony. So the next coming year or so is going to be very indicative, because according to their prophecy, they should start building the third temple from
next
April.
year.
And once they start doing that, then there's going to be, hopefully there's going to be uproar. But the way things are now, with what's going on in Palestine, there's supposed to be uproar. But which country do we see speaking out? So when Aqsa gets taken, who's going to speak out? What the Qataris that rely on the Americans, or the Jordanians that rely on the Americans, the Saudi, the only country that's named after their king, that of course was done at the advent of the demolishing of the Ottoman Empire. What can we really hope for? But people are saying that from April, so this is because you asked for their prophecy, this is their prophecy, and you can search this up as well. It's called the Red Heifer prophecy. It's making the rounds as well, but it's really going to be something.
I've come across a hadith, bro.
And this is supposed to all happen in the next month.
This year in April, they're saying that that's when they're going to enact this out, and then push forward building.
There has to be caveat made, because the idea of accelerating the process of the coming of Mahdi, the Antichrist, is something that is propagated by the Zionists. The religious Jews believe that you cannot accelerate the process. It is something that happens naturally.
Exactly.
It's only the Zionists who are interested.
And they would only come if there's no state of Israel.
Yes.
Because they believe that for their Mahdi, their Messiah to come, there should be no Israel.
State of Israel.
Yeah. So when they try to build the third temple, so what's happening is this, bro. They try to build the third temple for their Messiah to come, and the Christians, the Jewish, the lobby, the Zionist lobby in America are Christians, by the way. The reason they're promoting this is because saying when this happens, Jesus will come. So when Jesus will come, He'll kill the Jews and everybody for that matter. So the Christians are supporting the Jews, even though they don't understand the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yes.
So what they're doing is like, let's promote this, because when this happens, Jesus will come, which is going to be...
I thought they were just brainwashed.
No, they're very calculated. It's a religious thing. They know. So their Jesus is Dajjal, and then the Messiah of the Jews is Dajjal.
Right.
You know, there's a hadith I've just come across now.
But before you read the hadith quickly, I just want to say, I was going to ask, like, what can we do in preparation for this? But if it's all prophesized, there's nothing we really can do. This is all going to happen. It's supposed to happen. So the people watching right now, if they're getting scared and like, what do I do? Is there anything we can?
Yeah, Allah says in the Quran, save yourself and your family from fire. Yourself and your family. So sometimes people want to save the whole world.
Be self-sufficient first.
Look, listen, save yourself and your family, please, first. Before you want to go and save the whole world, it's very important. It's a reminder for myself first. Sometimes I go give dawah to everybody. But my house, my brother, my mom, we need to sometimes focus. It's everybody will focus on their family. Our goal is what? To die on La ilaha illallah. Allah doesn't want the results. He just wants you to die on the path. Not the end. I don't want to see the end. I just want to die on the path. That should be our main focus. Because what's going to happen is going to happen. Do you get it? Right. And there is prophecies for that Muslims are going to conquer Jerusalem. Jesus is going to come.
Yeah.
He's going to kill the Dajjal. There's going to be peace on earth. Jesus is going to get married. So there's going to be peace. He's going to kill the Dajjal. So these things are going to happen.
So this period will definitely end. But the thing is, life is all about peaks and troughs.
Yeah.
That's why even when you see a person in hospital and you look at the beep, 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 it's up, down, and that's indicative of what life is. It goes up, then it comes down. I mean, the end time, correct me if I'm wrong, will be somebody that will go up to the Kaaba. This will be right towards the end,
yes,
and he will take it apart brick from brick.
Yeah.
So at the time of Jesus, that will be our peak time.
Yeah.
And there's always peaks and troughs. That's just the way the world works.
And to answer what he's asking, what are we supposed to do? The very fact that we know about this science, because the Sahabas, they would make this like a life mission to know all the science. The reason why they wanted to know all the science is in preparation to know, to differentiate between the Antichrist and Jesus Christ by knowing this science. The signs are an indication, okay, I have to prepare myself. The Prophet Muhammad talks about the idea that there will be people that will remove themselves from society and they will go away to the mountains and worship God to stay away from the influences of Dajjal. So knowing the signs is the preparation itself against.
So some people, like we mentioned, they'll be praying for their lineage, that Allah protects their lineage. Like Dawood says as well, some people are making hijrah, they're moving to Muslim countries, as you've heard in your circles as well. Some people are moving to Dubai, some people are moving to Turkey, some people are saying, you know what, we actually can't live in certain countries. Some people, they know that, for example, when the whole Aqsa thing happens, I mean, you do whatever you can is around you, and that's all you can do, like Ali mentioned as well. So you marry all of these things together and you do whatever's in your means. Like if a building's on fire, you're never going to be able to rescue everybody, and you're never going to be able to change everything, but you can change what's around you. And you want to be that flame to the darkness that's around you. And if there's enough flames, that's enough to light up the room, but you can't light up the entire room. That's not in your hands. Yeah, there will always be people that choose the darkness, and you can't change that. And that's why even the Prophet's uncle, there were examples even in the Prophet's life, his uncle didn't accept Islam. So guidance, ultimately, some people just look at the Prophet, they'll accept Islam. So that's what it comes down to. Like, understanding and acknowledging everything lies in our hands, while in the control of Allah. But there's a saying, do your best, Allah will do the rest. That's all we can do. Do your best,
Allah will do the rest.
Amen, brother.
Mohammed, did you find the hadith?
I got the hadith. It's very interesting because I had already thought that all of these hadith are weak about Gaza and Ashkelon. You know, you might have seen what's happened on the news. Ashkelon became quite popular because Ashkelon's right next to Gaza. Asqalan. It's called Asqalan. You might have heard of it in the Hajj al-Asqalan. Now, there are two Asqalans. There's one in Egypt and one in Gaza, but near Gaza. But the one that is mentioned in the hadith is actually the one near Gaza, right? Now, this is what the hadith says. And this hadith has been authenticated by the likes of Al-Bani and others, yeah? It's not a weak hadith. It says, the first of this matter is a prophecy and mercy. Then it becomes a caliphate and mercy. So we've already had that. We had prophecy, we had a caliphate. Then it becomes kingship and mercy. That's exactly what happened. Because you had the Abbasids, then you had the Umayyads, yeah? then it becomes a dictatorship and mercy. That's what we have now. So this is how the Prophet ﷺ is telling us exactly what has happened in history is what's happened
In terms of governance.
in terms of governance, right? This is just, then they will fight over it like the fighting of hungry camels. They're going to be fighting over different things over the fighting of like hungry camels. So upon you is to engage in jihad. This is what the hadith says. And indeed, the best of your jihad is patience. And the best of your patience is at the beginning. Okay?
So jihad doesn't always have to be attacked.
And the best of your jihad is in Asqalan.
What is Asqalan?
Asqalan is you know the sorry to say, what we saw Ashkelon is in the kibbutz right outside of Gaza. So you've got Gaza here. Ashkelon is a 10-minute drive from Gaza. So if you imagine the lines here that have been drawn, this hadith could indicate that the Muslim governance, the moment that the jihad reaches there, something's going to happen. That's going to reach to the end of days. And that's why I think the Palestine issue, akhi, it could be the trigger for World War III.
And then goosebumps,
If you think about it, akhi, just think about this. Because here it's saying hadith is clear. But it's unbelievable how clear this hadith is. How can the Prophet ﷺ, if you know the history of like Islamic history, this is undisputed history. First you had the Prophet ﷺ. Then you had Khilafah Rashidiyya. Then you had exactly what the Prophet said. Then you had the Abbasids and the Umayyads. The Umayyads and the Abbasids.
break it down.
They were kings. It's like monarchy. Then after that, what do we have now in the Muslim world? We have dictators. It's an authoritarian regime. It's not a democracy. It is a dictatorship in most of the countries. There's 59 Muslim majority countries. Most of them are characterized by authoritarian regime. This is exactly, according to the hadith, this is the penultimate stage of history. So right now, it's like if we're reading a book, this is the second to last chapter. We are on the second to last chapter. The next chapter is the conclusion of the book of history. The end of history for Qiyamah. The real end of history, honestly. So what I'm saying is that, and the hadith was so interesting. Why does it indicate Asqalan, bro? Let's be clear about something. With the current Gaza conflict. The current Gaza conflict showed us it's unlikely that the small band of resistance fighters, whoever they may be, in Gaza are going to overtake new land. Let's be honest. Let's say, for example, now, militarily and strategically, if Hamas, what is the best they can hope for? A resistance that they can repel the enemy outside of Gaza. That's the best they can hope for. No one is predicting that Hamas or any other resistance group in Gaza will go into Ashkelon, which is by the way right next to Tel Aviv. Ashkelon's on the way to Tel Aviv, bro.
Really?
Yeah, Ashkelon. So you've got here.
What separates it?
It's kibbutz, only a few towns, bro. Between Gaza and Tel Aviv is an hour in driving in terms. Between Gaza and Ashkelon is 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You can go to it by running, jogging. It's not far. That's not that far away. So what I'm saying is, bro, it's unlikely that a place like Ashkelon will be overtaken by anything other than a combined effort of the Muslim armies. And the moment that happens, everyone knows. The moment that happens, it may be a trip. It might be like, you know how Franz Ferdinand, World War I, that was the catalyst, World War.
Apparently.
Yeah, they say, right? But it can be the alliance system that can have a system like that, bro. It could be that this thing about Palestine is going to lead to the end of days. Could be. Which shows you, actually, this is a special place. And this is connected to these very many authentic hadiths. Authentic. Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, all of these. That there will be a ta'ifatun mansura. There will be a saved sect. Now, there's an idea of saved sect. There's some people in Britain that they think they're the saved sect. So, to be honest,
Who are these Wahhabis?
no, they're called the Madkhalis. They say we are the saved sect.
You know the ones that have a problem with us?
Yeah, they have problems.
That's them.
Yeah. So they say we are the saved sect. They proclaim. But listen, if you read the hadith on the saved sect, you know what the things it says about the saved sect? That they will be around Beit al-Maqdis. They'll be around Asham. They'll be in that area. So why are you doing in Britain, bro? No, this is so. It says the saved sect is gonna be around Jerusalem.
Not Shepherd's Bush.
Not Shepherd Bush, not Birmingham. It doesn't say Birmingham there.
What?
And it doesn't say. It says going to be. So can you imagine here? This shows you, number one, the virtue of the Palestinian people and of the people in that area, because there's a reason why Allah's taking these people as martyrs. Wallahi, there's a reason for that. Yeah. The reason is because look how humble they are, akhi. They're the opposite of, sorry to say, the Zionists. Everything is the Zionists, these guys are the opposite. They're showing humility, they're showing tawakkul, this and that, and reliance. The Zionists are arrogant, they want to kill the babies. It's like Pharaoh and Moses. Yeah. Wallahi, the Zionists are like Pharaoh in the Bible, bro, and the Quran. They remind me of Pharaoh. Yeah. Modern day pharaohs, akhi. So what I'm saying is, it seems to me that this is a key part of the story, bro. And you know that it's a controversial hadith, but we'll mention it. Very controversial. In the end of days, there'll be a fight between Muslims and the Jews, and the hadith says that there will be a tree called the gharqat tree, and it will say the tree will somehow speak or communicate with the Muslim and say, there's a Jew behind me, come and kill him. There's a Jew behind me, come and kill him. Okay, now
why is it controversial?
Because they say, because it's anti-Semitic. Okay, you know, it's not talking about Jewish babies and children and the innocents. And it just so happens, sorry to say, majority of Zionists are Jewish. Our beef is with the Zionists. And most of the Zionists in the world, if you did a poll on them, they're Jewish. You don't find like black nationalist Zionists. You don't find Hindu Zionists. I mean, you do find some of those. Sorry to say, what they call Pajito, whatever. But that's something else. What I'm saying is,
the refugees.
There's these Sean's mates now.
25,000 Jews will be following the Hijab.
And I'll have to look at the.
Hijab, I got a question.
Let me get this one. But this one here, what I'm saying is, the eschatological picture of Islam is that in the end of times there will be a clash of civilization, and part of it, clearly, Muslims will be against some Jewish people, some Zionist people. Let's say, bro, this is too delicate. It's mentioning the names of the city. It's mentioning the key areas of. Bro, Ashkelon was on the news the other day, bro.
That's too politics for you, that.
Bro, Ashkelon was. That's where Hamas got killed. That's where they were fighting the people. That's where they went out, and that was Ashkelon. Oh wow. Bro, they came out and they got shot dead in Ashkelon. They went out to Ashkelon with the paraglider. Yeah. They went to Ashkelon, bro. They went to this is too delicate. It shows you that the prophecies of the Hadith are too in line now with the geopolitical relevancies of the day. Yeah. Bro, we need to really, this for me, it's like, wallah, when I think about all these Hadiths, I think the Day of Judgment is coming, bro. It's coming, it's close.
How soon do you think?
I don't know, Allah. I mean,
you do a lot more research on this than I thought you did. Like, I thought you would be the type of person to be like, there's no point in researching this, there's no point in like...
No, I like this, I don't try and speculate. There's a lot of hadiths, so you can put a lot of speculation into it. But this, bro, this is pretty clear, bro. This is clear cut, bro, isn't it?
Well, Ali, you don't think it's worth it? Just protect your family. There's no point in trying to change what's already proper.
I'm just saying that, for example, these things are important. It's good to educate us about the job does. But to now get this whole and we're finished, or what can I do? What I'm saying is that
defeat this.
That's what I'm saying. Because a lot of people are like, the judge limit card, that's going to happen. This is what's going to Palestine. We're finished. No, this shouldn't be the attitude of the believer. So what I'm saying is that if everybody internally corrected their affair, then this will have a ripple effect. The reason why we're in the state we are is because of our love for the world. What I'm saying is we need to reverse that and put our love to living for and dying for La ilaha illallah. If every Muslim done that, wallahi, we will not be in this situation. Because we are far away from that. So it all starts here. Because everybody has big plans like, let's open this, let's do this, let's conquer. First, start with yourself. Imagine living that lifestyle, partying, holidays, girls. Bro, I would either be suicidal or in a mental institute, bro. I cannot live your life the same boring pattern, bro. Wallahi, what is your purpose? Wallahi, what is your purpose?
It's boring.
Just think about it, bro. What is your purpose? Everything has a purpose. This lid has a purpose, and your purpose is what? To go sleep around, drive nice. Are you kidding me? What a disservice to the body that God gave you. So to me, it's just like, in a nutshell, just choose who you're going to be, who you're going to worship. It's either Allah or it's either going to be multiple other things from the dunya, and you will never be happy, bro.
Do you know what I think it is as well for that? This is my reading of the guys, Fresh now. It's not just them, but it's the whole like manosphere thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Pill.
Yeah. Do you know what the issue is? The issue is, like most societies in history, have had what you call rites of passage for men. Okay? There's something that a man does at one point of his life which shows the community, shows himself, shows his family that this guy's a man now. Whether it's go to war, enroll in the military, do something like that.
The Jewish bar mitzvah, for example.
Yeah, but like, usually it's something to show the resolve of the man, the masculine nature of the man.
Right.
Something physical, something hard to do, something hard to
Hunting,
hunting, this and that, something pretty seasonal.
They don't really have that anymore.
Exactly. So because we haven't had that now, people have come out and they've got different things which they've invented as rites of passage. Now, I feel like a lot of the mistake that the manosphere makes, I'm not going to say fresh and fit because it's the whole manosphere.
The whole ideology.
Yeah, which is like, okay, now the rites of passage is, how many women can you sleep with? Okay, that's basically it.
50.
The more that you can sleep with, the more of a man you are. Okay, but if that's what is your rites of passage, then you'll never compete with a donkey or a bunny rabbit. The donkey and the bunny rabbit will always overdo you or outdo you in this regard. Because it doesn't take skill, it doesn't take resolve, it doesn't take power, it doesn't take strength for someone to copulate, to have intercourse, to bend a woman over and to, do this and that, put her in different positions. And I know I'm going into details here.
Not during Ramadan.
No, you know what I mean? It doesn't take any level of proficiency or efficiency or skill or anything like that. Really, this is what you would call a false rites of passage, which is, I think there's been some kind of a gulf there is a chasm because of modern society, lack of hardship that's been created, and they're filling it up with hedonism. What I'm saying is that objectively, it doesn't make you, because what is it to be a man? That's the most question. I have to start with it. What is it to be a man? For me, the defining attribute of a man, frankly, is bravery. That is, for me, the defining attribute of what it means to be a real man is bravery. Because you need that in abundance to do certain things. For example, provide, protect. Now, you're not going to prove your bravery, which is if you like, the main virtue that you require to be a man. Because frankly, what would you say to someone if they were not brave? You'd say they're a coward. If they're not a coward, you'd say you're not a man. Someone gets slapped in the face and then he couldn't fight back. Or someone slaps your wife in the face and you can't fight her, you can't defend her. You're not a man anymore. That's what we would say vernacularly. And in virtue ethics, all the way from Aristotle up until our times, it was always known that bravery was the cardinal and redeeming virtue of a man that differentiated him from a woman. Not to say that women don't have that virtue. Now, going back to the rites of passage issue. The rites of passage issue now, having sex with women, how does that prove that you're a brave man?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. It doesn't prove that you're a brave man, that you're a resilient man, that you're a skillful man, or anything like that. So, for me, this idea of increasing the body count and stuff like that, I find it to be a lousy... Yeah, it's a lazy idea. It's a weak idea.
So if it does prove bravery, it's at the lowest possible level.
Not even. I mean, what is it? Showing your instrument to another woman. It's like what a bunny rabbit can do or a donkey. And having intercourse with a woman. It doesn't show anything. It doesn't show anything at all. Frankly, it doesn't show anything.
It's so deep that you're saying it because my dad, he would tap me on the shoulder and say in French, courage.
Yeah.
Courage, courage. He'd say,
yeah.
You're a man.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of things that you're going to face. He knew already before saw this.
Yes.
Stuff that I'm going through now, i.e. providing for family, i.e. making decisions for the family, facing reality and being, I do not know where my money's going to come from. I don't know where this is going to come from.
Yeah.
But I have to be courageous.
That is the main thing, bro. And there's two kinds of courage. So there is, you could call it the physical courage and you call it the moral courage.
Moral courage, yeah.
So the physical courage is getting engaged in physical confrontation. So, for example, I'll reference something you done, and I mentioned this already to you, but the thing with Strickland, I think that was a show of courage, actually.
Yes.
Because the guy was actually, people don't realize this, the guy is one of the most dangerous human beings on the planet. To even step in the ring with him, that requires courage. And to know that he's going to potentially hurt you, bro, badly. And he tried to hurt him. He tried to kill him, bro. And he couldn't. Allah protected him, alhamdulillah. But that is a kind of courage. I think if you look at the comments of that particular altercation, people were saying, my respect for Sneeko has gone up so much and this and that. Why? Because men realize, okay, that wasn't easy for him. Mm-hmm. Okay, but he still didn't capitulate. He didn't give up. He didn't, do you know what I mean? Yes. So that is okay, that you have to give credit to something like that. But there's another thing which is moral courage. So you have the physical courage and you have the moral courage. Moral courage to speak what is true. And so with someone like Myron or someone like Fresh and Fit, what I would say to them, bro, is, with all due respect, like recently there was some kind of thing where a woman, I didn't even watch it, but I was told about it. She was attacking the Prophet.
Zionist, yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't say anything. So I would say this is lacking in moral courage. Now, I'm not saying you're a coward. Maybe you just had the wrong idea about it. We're not going to throw you under the bus like that, Myron. But what we're saying is that the next step for the true rites of passage, for you to be a real man, from all perspectives, not just from the perspective of Islam, from virtue ethics times, from Aristotle's times, from the Babylonian times, the Africans, the Asians, the Chinese, everyone would say, speak the truth. Malcolm X, if you don't stand up for something, you'll fall for anything. Fall for anything. It's well known in all societies that this is what it takes to be a man. So forget about the body count. Sorry to say, this is true. This is kid stuff.
It sounds
how many
trivial
women?
now.
Yeah, how many women you can get and bag and put in the bed and bend her over and give her some money. She don't even love you. She don't even care. She's just doing it for fame or money or whatever. I mean, it's a prostitute. Most of these people in Fresh and Prison, sorry to say, they're escorts. They are escorts. They are prostitutes.
And I guess the ultimate test right now to judge moral bravery.
If we wanted to, we could go to the escort for services, and we could call four escorts, and they can come and sit here. We can pretend to have the upper hand on them. It wouldn't really mean anything because they're not formidable opponents. They're worthless opponents. So it's actually demeaning to be in a place and you're attacking some woman that's basically a prostitute about her job. You need to help this woman. You need to take her out instead of bringing some prostitutes and go head to head with some.
That's a good idea. We should do that's actually a good idea.
Oh.
Like but the woman that has lost.
No, you can do dawah to a prostitute.
Dawah to call them and fix
No,
their
but
ways.
That'd be a great stream.
Yeah, it would be fantastic.
Dollar to prostitutes.
But you can
That'd be good.
we'll get some women in the dawah.
Like you on the Halal Fresh and Fit.
Yeah,
Work on the brand.
we have to look at man. But what I'm saying is that we need to now recalibrate what it means to be a man.
Yes.
And it's fine, bro. Society has changed our perspectives on these things. And what it means to be a real man is to be brave. And what it means to be brave is to be physically brave and to be morally brave. These are the two things.
I have to give you credit for the debates you did on Palestine, because I think that's the ultimate test right now of moral bravery. And people who are willing to stand up for what's very clearly genocide and not war. And most people choose to stay silent, especially people in my world of streaming and the influencer people. They know what's going on off camera. They will speak about the atrocities, but because they want the brand deals and they want to be able to work with managers, they will stay silent about something that's in my opinion, worse than the Holocaust, and especially what we learned in school. And then Zishan, I want to ask you, that was a very detailed answer.
Yeah, and I don't want to throw Myron under the bus, because I think he's a nice guy.
No, he speaks about all this stuff, too.
Yeah,
He's a great person.
we want to bring him into our fold.
Yeah.
We really want him to be part of our team. We want him.
He has Islam in his heart.
He's a clever guy. You saw something of his. He's written a book or something, hasn't he?
Why women deserve less.
So he's got an intelligent mind, No, honestly,
It's a great title.
you can see. No. Why women deserve less? He's got an intelligent mind. No, but I'm saying we don't want to sort of start with a bus, but no, you can see. I've seen him speak a few times. He's a very intelligent young man.
Yeah.
We just want to tweak him a little bit because I think he's in the wrong environment, and we want him to be part of our family. We want him to be closer to us. That's what we want.
Bring it back on Dean.
That's it. That's what we want.
Zishan, what is your definition of being a real man?
I think the definition of a real man
Don't talk about me on this.
in this day and age, it's what you're saying, where you've got a genocide taking place and people can't voice out, people can't speak out. On the other hand, you've got people on road, they're involved in gangs and they think they have access, that specific area belongs to them. They think that's bravery. You've got people that think, I'm making this money, that's bravery. I think nowadays, the ultimate kind of test of bravery, and some people, we see these people at Speaker's Corner as well, and we discuss with them and we say, look, bro, you're pretty much a Muslim. What's stopping you?
Yeah. I met one today.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know, maybe it's, I don't think I can do it, it's this. For me, that's the sign of bravery. That in an age where believing in God is seemed or is made to seem foolish. That in a day and age where alcohol, fahish, like drugs, promiscuity is it's common. It's something that children as young as 6 and 7 are exposed to hardcore pornography, but you instill a conservative lifestyle, conservative in terms of principles of Islam. That's what I mean by conservative. And despite what people are saying, oh, you're backwards, oh, you're barbarians, oh, you're this, or you're stopping your child from doing this, and you stay firm because you know, like the prophecies that we've discussed, you know what's to come. And that's what's telling of a man. A man is able to look 10 years ahead and plans for his family, whilst women, not all of them, they tend not to look that far ahead. Their vision is a bit less, and that's why their union is very important, because it complements each other very well. So for us, in this day and age, holding firm to the rope of Allah, I think that, as Islam tells us, that's what's telling of a man that a time will come that holding on to Islam will be like holding on to a burning cinder in your hand. That's a man. Somebody that can hold on to a cinder and a coal, that's a man. Somebody that can say no to a woman, like Yusuf alayhi salam said when she came to him, and somebody says no, and that's what I would even say. That's what I would say as well. When you're on streams and you've got you know the sort of DMs and this and that, and you say no to that. That's a man. Somebody when they're in front of a ruler, they know they're going to be cancelled. They know they're going to be shadow banned. Principally, they say, you know what, I'm going to say this because that's the right thing to do. That's a man.
Can I ask you though, is there some sort of bravery in not telling the truth? Because if I had not telling the truth 2 years ago when the lies about COVID were happening or when the lies about the election were happening, if I had stayed silent, I'd be able to make much more money. And then, like we were talking about earlier,
what you said, sorry.
I'd be able to make even more money for my family. And you said the most important thing, Ali, is to provide for your family in the immediate time. Would it not be brave to put aside my moral dignity and said, okay, you know what? What's more important is my family. Let me tell the truth over a slower time scale.
You know why, Sneepo? This is where Tawheed comes into it. This is our problems. All of our problems in the world tie back to the oneness of God. Everything. Mention anything, I'll tie back to that. The fact that we know risk, what God provides us. I'm not just talking about money. The things that God Almighty gives us. To understand and accept, this is such a beautiful concept that when I was not a Muslim, I didn't really understand it. When I became a Muslim, I understood it. For you to say the truth, because you are relying on Allah is the one that provides for you. You need to understand this concept. You do not provide for yourself. Allah is the one that's providing for you. So when you understand that concept and believe that in the uniqueness, the oneness of God Almighty, and that He's providing for you, you would say, me speaking the truth, the factors are not in the hands of my enemies. They are the ones that decide how much money comes into my pocket or what blessings God is given to me. It's God. When you do that, this is when you find your true freedom, because you're not in the shackles of, if I done that or did this, or if I didn't speak, this wouldn't happen. We don't believe that. We believe, and this is what Tawheed is, that to have tawakkul, having trust that God will take care of you. This is such a beautiful concept. That's why when you look at, I'm not going to mention names, individuals who are chasing the world and the woman, etc., their purpose is limited. Our purpose is unlimited. Our purpose is greater than this world. You know what I'm trying to say? Can I have a takbir?
Allahu Akbar!
Okay. Yeah.
I wish music wasn't haram because you could be a good rapper.
You can still do it with nasheeds. Let me know if you want to collaborate. We can do something together. Speak Off featuring Ali Dawa.
Jalal bars.
Yes, on the way to Mecca. So the point is this, bro. When your focus is limited, when I was not a Muslim, my focus was limited. Girls, that's all I knew. Girls, partying, clubbing here. But that's limited. So when your vision is unlimited, like I said, Allah is provided. That's why for you made that decision, if I'm not mistaken, before you came to Islam.
Yeah.
Good. That shows you. That's what Umar ibn Khattab said. Some people, if they, as the disbelievers, if they came to Islam, the quality that you had, look how it's beautified you further when you've come to Islam. Because you already had that concept of, no, I will speak the truth. And Allah says in the Quran, speak the truth even if it's against yourself or your kin. So to uphold that, bro, you did that as a disbeliever. Let alone you're a believer now. Imagine if as a disbeliever you had that moral concept, Imagine what you can do today. So this is what you should stick to, bro. Allah is the one that provides for us. Don't think if I do this and I do that and this one. No. If you put your trust in Allah, bro, Allah will take care of all your affairs. This is what I tell everybody. Wallahi, the effort that you put into Instagram, makeup, this car, this look, this, that, Wallahi, if you gave 20% of the effort that you put onto all of those stuff to your Lord, to Allah, wallahi, Allah will take care of all your affairs. That's why I say fix your affairs with Allah, and Allah will fix your affairs with the people and with yourself. That is the focus we need to have, which we don't have. You got girls, makeup, this, that. Why? Because the concept is what? They are thinking, if I beautify myself, I would get a husband or a guy, yeah? And we're seeing the following, yeah? We believe, Sneeko, that a woman who says, I fear Allah and I will cover myself, and I will not even show my face, argument's sake, yeah? Allah will find her somebody on the other side of the earth that will come to her doorstep. Why? Because we believe Allah is the one. Not committing sins and I'm going to find it. So all I believe, bro, in a nutshell, all of these issues go back to Tawheed. If we truly understood who Allah is, put our reliance on Him, had tawakkul, had trust in Him rather than what I can do. Like the hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him, of the man who came with a camel. And he didn't tie his camel. He said, why not tie the camel? He said, I'll put my trust in God. He said, tie your camel, then put your trust in God. Today we have a phenomenon of, not only to tie your camel, you have killed your camel. Your camel is dead. And then you're like, okay, I've tried everything. Now let me put my trust in God. All relates back to that, but everything relates back to not believing Allah enough and having enough tawakkul.
Okay, but besides speaking the truth, after I became a Muslim, I rejected I was offered $15 to $20 million a year to gamble on stream.
Thank you.
Would that not have been, is there not some sort of righteousness in accepting that deal?
No, that would
And
destroy
then,
you.
what if I took that money and I gave it away to people?
No, listen, Allah only accepts that is pure. Yeah, so Allah accepts only that is pure. We cannot, like people come and say, if I won the lottery, if I did this, look, if it comes from haram, Allah will never put barakah in that. That money will destroy you and destroy everything around you. But if you come with pure, wallahi, let me tell you something. If you put Allah first, meaning, for example, you said no to that. Why? Because it destroys people's lives. How can I make a living? Do you know I know people who have committed suicide because of gambling? How am I going to go to bed, put my head on my pillow, knowing 5 people just killed themselves because the money that they were supposed to provide for their family has gone to some dirtbag who is betting, yeah? Or bet shop owner, yeah? So to us, that's why when you ask the question, why are Muslims not performing as well? Because to us, we're not about oppressing and how we can opportunistically take from people. And that's what the world is doing. They don't care about anybody. It's all about me. And Allah will destroy you. But if you put Allah first, have halal money, even if it's £20, wallahi, you will see the barakah in that. The moment from your death till you die, Allah will make sure all that money in your bank goes to good causes. So to me, bro, it's just having that trust in God that Allah will take care of you. And this is this concept that we
Just to
have.
build up on what you said, because the question you're
We have to change the battery. Can you hold that for 1 second? We got to change the battery. Go ahead.
Yeah. So just building up what you're saying about man, we've heard a lot about speech.
Bro, just pause that thought because Ali's just made a point. I didn't want to lose the track there. Just hold that thought. Yes, yeah?
Yeah.
So what Ali was saying is it reverts to the ayah of the Quran. وَهُوَ يَتَوَلَّى الصَّالِحِينَ. Allah is the guardian of the righteous. That if a person is righteous, Allah says, this is Allah guaranteeing, I will be your guardian. And because Allah's created this machine, Allah knows what's good for it, what's bad for it. You and I, we don't get to decide. So if a gambling contract comes and that's not good for us, that's not going to be good. You might think it's that illusion that, oh, I can do this and I can do that. But who gets to decide? Us, in our limited kind of understanding, because we have the pixel, Allah is the picture. And Allah's given us morality by looking at the whole picture.
Bless.
Yeah, and we have only a small pixel and we're trying to, say, okay, maybe it's like this or maybe it's like that. But our machine is not designed to live with gambling, with alcohol, with drugs, with sexual promiscuity. Why? Because Allah has forbidden it. What sort of religion would it be that on the one hand Allah's forbidden all these things, and on the other hand that it's all right, you can do it, but as long as you're doing something good with it. That would be one of the religions that, of course, we're trying to kind of warn people against. Because if Allah's created everything, He knows everything, and everything. He's given us a coherent system that we can't say, yep, the system works there. But here, you know what? It's not going to work in the economic side. Like, I know. No, it's you follow what Allah says. And yes, in the short run, you may not necessarily see it, but it's like putting a diesel in a petrol car. Like gambling to a Muslim doesn't make any sense. Even gambling to non-Muslims. Ultimately, look at society now. Because of increased gambling, alcohol, and because of a lack of objective morality, that's why the society is in the decadent state it's in. Because it's going further away from the laws of God.
And this is a beautiful lineup, because the question was, what makes a man, right? and we've talked a lot about the idea of like speaking truth to oppression or truth to like whatever it is that you're facing. That is an instantaneous thing that you do. Like you can speak truth in a lifetime maybe once. Maybe one time in your life as a man you have to speak truth against yourself. However, I believe when you say expanding the idea what it means to be a man, it's something that you do on a consistent basis. Now, you were saying this so beautifully, Allah has designed us. If we think about when Allah creates man the first time and the angels say, Ya Rabbi, are you going to create a creation that is going to cause chaos on earth, right? And then Allah says, prostrate, and then they prostrate. And then he asks the angels, name the things. And they can't name the things. And Adam names the things. He names creation. It's inherent. So being a man, in my language, Gala, we call it bari. And Mubali is a caretaker, right? And we know in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, what caretaking is. Khalifa to art. Meaning, being a man is inherent to being a human being. Meaning the caretaking. So when you are avoiding gambling, you're caretaking. When you're avoiding promiscuity, you're caretaking. You're cultivating the land. You're cultivating the soul. You're cultivating society. And that's what it means to be a man. A man means to be consistent in caretaking and choosing the right thing over the wrong thing. And I think that's ultimately what it means to be a human being. And that's enough. This one hadith, we know this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet told us that the man is the caretaker of the family. The woman is the caretaker of the house. And, you know, and...
So every shepherd is responsible for his flock.
Yeah.
And the woman is responsible for her flock.
Yeah, and this is why it's so interesting in the Arabic language. Rajul is not always specific to the gender. Sometimes Rajul can also be attributed to a female in the terms of like the way she behaves because of those qualities. And this is something I wanted to always say. There's a problem when we look at gender and when we look at sexuality, we're looking at through the Western lens. Because the way sexuality is understood internationally, it's far more stretched. So for example, this happened to me, it's a real story. My dad is African, right? And I grew up in Germany. One time, I'm chilling, and my friends are coming and laughing at me. I was like, what's going on? It's like, yo, we saw your dad. What? So what? He was holding someone else, and he's holding a man's hand. Your dad is gay. Right? And he was laughing at me. I was like, yo.
In Germany, yeah, but it's Germany.
Yeah, in Germany. So I'm like, bro, like, is that real? So I went to my dad. It's like, years later down the line, I realized in African society, in Arabic society, it's all now two men to hold hands. Because sexuality is far more expensive than this restrictive view of sexuality that is connected to capitalism, right? Because the capitalistic idea of sexuality is the workforce. We talked about women in the workforce. We talked about prostitution. All of these things are unhinged and attached to capitalism. Now, if two men, or for example, Rumi, right? There's this one gay academic in America. He was reading Rumi.
With a poet.
A Persian poet. And he was saying, based upon that, based upon the way Rumi was talking about his friends, Rumi was gay. But if you know anything about Persian poetry and the sensibilities of the Persians, love, a platonic love that you exert towards man, doesn't necessarily say that you're gay. It's just a different way of viewing a man, right? So Rumi would talk about a man's beautiful eyes. Rumi would talk about Shamsi's your beautiful hair and your beautiful eyes. But it's not in a sense how Western people would understand sexuality.
Yeah.
So again, this idea of like what makes a man are traits that you can find in other entities as well, but they are inherent within the man. And sorry for going so deep and so academic with it and so passionate, but
But I like your idea about the fact that a man is caretaker. I think that's a powerful idea. It's also a Quranic idea. Al-Rijal Qawwamun 'ala an-Nisa,
Yeah.
Certainly the caretaking is a part of it. You take care of your woman.
Yeah.
But and your children and stuff like that. But also, I like what Zishan said about self-restraint.
Yeah.
Because this, in virtue ethics terms, this used to be called temperance. There's a word for it. Temperance is when you can control your behavior. You have restraint. Actually, hedonism is opposite to that. So, like, the earliest civilizational understandings of what it means to be a good person, a virtuous person, whether a man or woman, is that you have control over yourself. You're not a glutton. You don't eat too much. You don't lose like all we do today. Hitler than me. But, or like, what do you call it? You're not just saying what you want to say. You're not impulsive. You're not whatever. This is called temperance. Now, hedonism is actually antithetical to temperance, because hedonism, when you're doing what you want and having intercourse with whatever woman you want and all that kind of stuff, it's you're effectively not, you're not actually controlling yourself.
Is that not what destiny promotes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's hedonism. So you see his body, that guy. You see his body, you see his face, you see his behavior, you see his wife, you see his relationships. Everything is broken down. And it's because of a lack of temperance, a lack of virtue, effectively. He's a non-virtuous person. These are examples of trash gutter people.
Someone said Destiny doesn't play devil's advocate. Destiny is literally devil's advocate.
Yeah, I mean, I was scrolling and I saw a picture of a man with his shirt off, and he had, nothing to show for himself, like physically, and he has nothing to show for himself intellectually, as we saw as well.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy to some people. When I saw what he's saying about the genocide,
That's not very nice.
yeah, bro. Well, when he said that, I mean,
Yeah.
this is the second time I've ever seen him say anything, and it just, to be honest, I threw him in the bin. The guy has no.
You should debate him.
Yeah, well, okay, come, you debate, no problem. I'm always ready. I'm ready to fight and debate anybody.
Send me location.
Okay.
I will smash.
Are you the homosexual?
I will smash.
No, no.
Huh?
Destiny's homosexual, did you know that?
Yeah, I don't have any discrimination of humiliation. There's no humiliation. Who wants to be humiliated? There's no problem, man. Well, what's he going to talk to me about? What's his area of specialism? No problem. But the point I'm making to you is that these are archetypes of failure in the modern world, bro. Honestly. Because no, let's be honest. Like the Western.
Come on, he likes dyeing his hair blue.
No, forget about that. I'm saying that what do you have to show for yourself as a man? What do I have to respect?
He has a successful stream.
What do I have to respect about someone like this guy? Do you know what I mean? What is it to be a streamer?
He talks fast.
So do I. Untalented individuals. We're living in an age where untalented people can have notoriety. That's the truth.
Isn't that the sign of the end times?
Yes.
The knowledge will be quiet and the ignorant will be speaking the
There's
knowledge.
like Hadith about Destiny too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called what's
He's part of the captain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he the jaw?
No, but it's not. Effectively
ignorant will be trusted.
Untalented. Like there's nothing there. Like at least with Kim Kardashian or these figures, they're untalented.
There's something there. Well,
Yeah, no, they're untalented, but they may have beauty or something to show this. But we're talking about an individual bereft of talent and aesthetic beauty. So what do you have to offer? What are you putting on the table for me? I mean, why do I have to respect you? Because the thing is, a man is never going to respect a man that can't challenge him or impose consequence on him, physically or intellectually. That's the truth. I'm never going to give him too much respect. I might feel sorry for him, sympathy. That's the only emotion. Disgust. That's another emotion I might feel. No, honestly, these are the kind of... I look at them, I feel disgust, I feel bedazzlement, a sense of...
There you go. He's got something to offer you, then, isn't he? There you
It's a
go.
negative attribute. No, but what I'm saying is that these are archetypes of failure, frankly. I'm being honest with you, bro. The Western tradition is not like... The Western virtue tradition, it had things like magnanimity, had things like temperance, things like forbearance, things like compassion. No money, no material. It's only a worldview that can make you think like that. A worldview that I've got better things coming. Akhi, Hamdallah, who was one of the great Sahabis, right? He just became Muslim, like yourself. Imagine this, just became Muslim. Got married. He had his wife. And he was about to go to war. But she was calling him to the bed. She was calling him to the bed, so he went and had sex with her, so to say. He said, you know what, I'm a young guy. He had sex with her, then he went to war. Yani he had sex with her, then he went to war. He was killed in the war, and that we believe he became a martyr, and the angels washed him up.
Can I expand this like
Because the said I saw it.
Can I expand this like
Because after sexual relations,
expand this like
ritual bath. Because he didn't have time. So after sexual relations, you have a ritual bath.
wife.
You have sexual relations.
You're married and you have sexual intercourse with your wife. You
He's a big wudu.
no,
This is a major
purity,
purification.
You have to wash all your bodies.
It's not a shower.
So wudu is minor purity. Ghusl is a full
wudu.
Yeah. You can say full, but it's It's
big wudu.
because I want to keep this conversation also very intelligent, because we don't want to play into the tropes, because this idea is that martyrdom of the Muslims is like this barbaric, unthinking people who just blow up themselves. Martyrdom, actually, if you think about it from the Quranic perspective, is something very difficult. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala criticizes the people who do not go onto the battlefield.
Exactly.
Because it's difficult to do so. It's not something more.
It's major sin if you turn your back.
Yeah, it's difficult to do the battle. It's difficult to leave the world behind. This idea that every Muslim can just go and blow up himself. These are the crazy people that have actually problems.
We're not sort of blowing up ourselves, just to be clear.
We're talking about people that have actually something to lose and decide to go against their own fear and love for life. And I think that's something that we also have to really talk about, because sometimes we play into those tropes of
100%. But on the other hand, I was very surprised because I saw a recent thing. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Sam Harris is an atheist, yeah? He was having this discussion with a couple of other guys. One of them was like another atheist. And they were talking about the military apparatus in the Quran and Sunnah. And the guy said something effective, he says something to behold. He was praising it, and they're atheists. And you can see Sam Harris's mouth. He's always been a critic of Islam. He didn't like what this guy was saying, but he didn't want to refute it because he kind of silently acknowledged the truth in it. Militarily, bro, and strategically, if you have a group of people that actually, in a sense, prefer to die. But imagine the bravery that's going to come from their mind. Imagine how far they're going to take it. How else can you explain the fact that Islam spread in the way it did? No other religion spread in the way that Islam spread. None. Christianity, it was Constantine, okay, who became a Christian, and then he spread it by force. Islam wasn't like that, bro. They had to go and invade other nations. And for them, imagine like you got a small group of people, yeah? Small group of people comparatively, 5,000 people, going to the Roman Empire fighting them. When they're 10-to-1 ratio, they're losing. 10-to-1 ratio, maybe even 20-to-1. But no one does that. But that's the bravery that's required to overtake and to conquer, bro. That bravery cannot come from just, okay, let's tune our sympathetic nervous system and tame our amygdalas. It's not like that. This is a bravery that has to come from something higher than that, bro. Which is, where it's coming from is the higher ethic, which is, bro, we're willing to die for this because we believe if you die as a martyr, you'll be provided for that, or you'll be alive, you'll be this, you'll be that. You have to admit, militarily, people that believe in this theology, bro, and if they're ready to fight, they're going to be the most dangerous people. Even Robert Greene said this himself. You know Robert Greene, 48 Laws. He said that the one who's willing to commit suicide has the initiative. This is one of the rules of power. I'm not saying we want to commit suicide. I'm saying that you're willing to fight to the extent where you could die. The one who's willing to commit suicide has the initiative, which means
Hitler.
Yeah, in a way he had the initiative, but even him, bro, when his ideology died, he killed himself. Do you get it? But in Islam, it's not like that. Do you know, when he died, the whole movement died because it wasn't something that is like transcendental. But with Islam, it's different because it's not a nationalist concept. It's to do with the hereafter and stuff.
The purpose is greater than this life. That's the issue. Do you get it?
Yeah.
That's why the people that purpose is this life, you see what they do, sleep around, this, that. The purpose is greater than this. And that's why this doesn't adds to the non-Muslim. They do not understand the concepts alien to them. To us, even like the concept which I fell in love with Islam was the concept of loving for the sake of Allah. I didn't understand what that meant. I was like, what does that mean? Why do I have to love sneaker for the sake of Allah? Can I not just love him because he's a good person or because I'm just a good person? Then I realized that as human beings, we always have terms and conditions. There's always there's something there. What am I gaining from him? Something there. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But when you think about the concept of doing it for the sake of Allah, it is so beautiful. And wallahi, it will solve so many problems of the non-Muslims if they had this concept. Because everyone in today's society is doing what? What can I gain out of the other?
Transactional relationships.
Everything is
People always tell me to cut off. I have a friend named Neon. He's a younger Muslim.
Neon.
And I always make sure that I'm there and I respond to him. I'm checking up on him. So he's my Muslim brother, regardless of like how he like changes the reputation and what he does. Like that's my Muslim brother, and I love him for the sake of Allah.
Exactly. Sake of Allah means what, bro? It's transactional. Meaning the following: if you come to me one day and say, "Ali, I'm in a really bad position. Can you lend me £5,000?" I'll be like, "Okay, I have it. There you go." The next day you come and argue and say, you start swearing at me. You start swearing at me. Start swearing at me. I would never ever say, you know what, bruv? I wish I never gave him that £5,000. I wish I never helped Sneeko. Because my reason of doing that was what? I'd done it for the pleasure of God. I don't give a damn if you're going to slap me in my face or are you going to humiliate me or whatever for that matter, yeah? I said, I've done that for the sake of Allah. No problem. And there's an ayah in the Quran. Why? When Abu Bakr, his daughter, was slandered. And Aisha, the Prophet's wife, yeah? Abu Bakr is her father. She was slandered against that. She committed adultery. This was a big slander. Surah Nur was sent down, yeah? And Abu Bakr used to give some money to a specific individual. And that individual was one of the ones who started the rumor. And Abu Bakr stopped giving the money. And Allah sent down revelation. Say, do not do this. Basically, carry on giving. Why? Because it was for the sake of God. Not, I'm going to stop it now because he did this to me. But today we do is what? Every finished transaction. Do you know how fake that is, bro? I've lived that life. It makes me sick when I'm around people who are like, okay, why is this person, I'm doing this? Brother, we do it for the sake of Allah. And when you understand this concept, it's so beautiful because it's like, I'm not calling that brother so I can get some likes from him. Or that person, brother, it's just for the sake of Allah. I'm here for the sake of Allah, inshallah. And this is something you need to work on. It's not something that you are given. It's something that you get. And if you look at today's society, everyone is selfish.
Absolutely.
Nobody cares about anybody, bro. People are, the guys died on the floor, they recorded.
Social media is fake.
Do you know what he's talking about is very true, and actually psychological studies have been done on this. It's actually a phenomenon called the diffusion of responsibility. In the West, it's on steroids, this thing. What is diffusion of responsibility? Is that you diffuse the responsibility to someone else. So, for example, there's a lot of sexual assault that happen in the West. What we call stranger rape or stranger sexual assault or stuff like that, yeah? What we find is that people don't want to get involved because they believe in individualism. The religion of the West is liberalism now. And as part of liberalism, this idea of individualism. Individualism is this idea that you yourself, really, you know what's best for yourself, do what's best for yourself, you are in charge of yourself. It's all about yourself, effectively. You are the master. The individual is king. That's what individualism is, yeah? So because that's the idea, the person makes a rational choice theory or calculus. He starts to calculate the situation. He says, why should I get involved? This woman here is getting hurt, or this man here is getting beaten in the street. If I get involved, I might lose my life, I might lose my health. What do I have to gain from that?
What's the utility?
What's the utility in that? So this phenomena of diffusion of responsibility, makes everyone selfish, effectively. If you, like, for example, if we go to Africa right now, yeah, in any part of sub-Saharan Africa, any part of Africa that as a continent, any part, any country you like, if someone gets into a fight in a village or in a city, for the most part, everyone's going to get involved and try to stop it. Someone gets into a fight in London, bro, I'm sorry to say, do you think someone's getting involved? No one's getting involved because it's like, why should I? It's not my business. I'm going to hurt myself because it's not a communal. They don't have a communal wiring. They have an individualistic wiring, and that's what's destroying their societies. This idea of a diffusion of responsibility. So what I'm saying is, Akhi, and it's so ironic because being individualistic, ironically, is against the individual.
Right.
Being selfish is ironically not in the self-interest of the person.
It's more self-sufficient to pay attention to the community.
Yeah, because for example, and this is in most self-help books and stuff, yeah, even nowadays, which is that think win-win, think reciprocity. If I help this guy, if I help him, if I'm generous and stuff like that, you know, the Hindus and the Eastern traditions say it's karma, what goes around comes around. There's a degree of truth in that notion. In fact, as there's an Arab proverb which is in line with Islam, that you are rewarded with what you give, effectively, yeah? So the point is, if you give off to different people goodness, generosity, hospitality, respect, bravery, sacrifice, you'll get that back. But if you're a selfish person, doesn't want to get involved, doesn't want to do this, think about yourself, this and that, then don't complain. Actually, bro, in this country, you got, my mom had a neighbor, you know, and the house was smelling bad. The house was smelling bad. So the police came and opened it up. So the woman was dead inside.
Wow.
They said, why is the woman dead inside? Oh, because the kid didn't come and see her. Why? Because there isn't an emphasis on being good to your parents, bro. Imagine, it's so horrible. Imagine, that would be
care homes, bro.
It would be shocking. It's shocking almost anywhere else in the world. But in this country, bro, like, imagine someone didn't care about their mom so much, or their dad, whatever, so much that they died in the house.
But you mentioned this though. But what he's mentioned is, and he's mentioned it very well, and it's stuck in my head. It was that human rights, this is the bedrock of this society, and human rights is all to do with what you're owed.
Yes.
These are my rights. This is what I need to have. But which of the human rights articles deals with responsibility?
Yeah, human responsibilities.
Yeah, about what you owe to somebody else. They're all to do with what you owe, what you're owed. And that's what he's saying. It then leads to individualism, materialism. I mean, even look at the inheritance system. Yeah, Islamic inheritance system is the only one that sets aside an amount for your parents. It even considers your parents. And here, when we're talking about what Ali's saying, your parents, when they reach a certain age, they're of no utility to you. There was a sketch show where he said, I went home, I saw my mom. It's a sketch, he was joking, she wasn't cooking, she wasn't cleaning, she wasn't well. So that's when I decided there's no use for her. So I just, but obviously there was a laugh and this and that because people didn't expect it to go that way. But that is literally what happens. You're literally sent to a care home to live the rest of your life. Why? Because the kids are supposed to, be the best that you can be, enjoy life, pleasure over pain, which is what liberalism is, again, another bedrock of liberalism, that if pleasure outweighs pain, it's good. If pain outweighs pleasure, then it's bad. Now, this is what the Quran says as well. Have you seen the people that have taken the desires as their lords? So all of these things are the bedrock of the Western civilization, and that's why you see...
Bro, and that's it. Do you know, sorry to cut you off, but on this point, do you know what's ironic about that as well? It's the more you chase pleasure, ironically, the more you get pain.
Yeah.
Right? This is one of the things I was reading in that book.
Very
Buddhist and stuff here. But it's the case. In fact, that is very Buddhist as well. In fact, Socrates in the Hellenistic period, or the classical period, I should say, Socrates... I was a pre-Socratic spirit, but he was Socrates himself. But Socrates said that basically pain and pleasure are two sides of the same coin. That if you focus too much on pleasure, you end up getting pain. So that's what you mentioned. So it's very interesting that pleasure is like a shadow. The more you move towards it, the more it moves away from you. The ones who try and seek pleasure are most likely the ones who get least pleasure.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if you're going for the short-term solution, you want to ejaculate, you want to eat the food, you want to this, that, whatever, no problem. We're not saying you shouldn't ejaculate or eat the food, whatever. But if that is your epitome of pleasure, bro, I'm sorry, it's fleeting. I just ate this food now. Okay, I ate this food. I was hungry before. And now I'm not hungry anymore. But that's it. I'm not going to remember 3 days from now what kind of food I just ate now. Frankly, it's a fleeting memory. I don't even remember what I ate 3 days ago, because it's not really that. It's not the level of pleasure is not to the point where it's changed my life like that. So how many times have I ejaculated in my life? At least. Is that the best the West can offer me, bro? What can you offer me? Let's be real for a second, yeah? What can the West offer me? So I say, I'm ready now. Let's say I don't want to live a religious life, a restricted life, a disciplined life. I don't want to live that now. I want to be a Westerner for a couple of weeks. Let's say, for the sake of argument, bring me in, Destiny. Bring me in, Myron. Bring me to one of your hoes, a prostitute and your escorts. Show me what you can do for me. So what are you gonna do? You get me a couple of hoes. I'm gonna do what I want to do with them. All right, fine. Sorry to say, I'm being crude. I'm gonna eat some food. I'm gonna drink some alcohol. Wake up with a hangover. Headache, vomit in the toilet. Bro, I'm sorry to say, Yanni. I'm going to inject some heroin in my body. You know what I'm saying? And then have a withdrawal impact afterwards, because the body keeps score. And that's the name of a book, by the way. It's called The Body Keeps Score by Van der Kolk. He wrote a book called The Body Keeps Score. There's no such thing as a substance that you put into your body for pleasure that's not going to come back and take pain from you. The body will keep track. If you get a high from ecstasy or from speed or from what do you call it, heroin, that means you're gonna get a crash. You're gonna go below the baseline. You're gonna get sick from that.
That's what the repercussions are. All the
that's what I'm saying. So no problem. I'm gonna take a couple of drinks. I'm gonna take a couple of heroin. I'm gonna have sex with a couple of hoes. I'm gonna go out. I was gonna cut this bit about myself. Go out, do this good clubbing. So loud. The music is so loud. I can't even hear anything. I can't even see anything. And the lights are flashing. Oh, okay. What now? I've ejaculated. I've eaten food. What can you offer me? Show me what. I want more now. I'm hungry. I'm hungry for something more. Bro,
you want is more.
How comes if you knew what makes me happy, You guys are the most depressed.
Yeah, exactly.
How comes, according to Forbes magazine and the World Health Organization, the most depressed countries in the world are the Western countries?
Exactly.
I want to know that.
Bro.
If you guys know so well how to make me happy, how comes your people are on the antidepressants and the Prozac?
Exactly.
How comes that we have discovered now from the most longitudinal studies known to man, for example, the Harvard study, very longitudinal study, for 30 years, that the best thing that promotes satisfaction in life is human relationships, the meaningful things, and all. There's a study, bro, Mannheim University, 2019, Germany, yeah? Bro, listen to this study, and you can download this if you don't believe me. The effects of oneness belief of life satisfaction. Listen to this. The fear. But you know what it said? The most satisfied people, and these are non-Muslim writing this study, bro. The most satisfied people in the world, according to this study, 2019, not written by Mohammed Hijab, written by Laura Tobin and some other two things. The most satisfied people in the world are Muslims. They actually wrote the word Muslims.
Wow. And they don't become Muslim after realizing that.
I'm saying that this is just the effects of oneness beliefs of life satisfaction. Right. That's the name of the study, bro. So what we're talking about here, the studies are almost unanimous in showing that your life of hedonism leads to displeasure and hedonia, the opposite of pleasure, and our life of meaningfulness, purposefulness, and so on and so forth, that's leading to real satisfaction. So why am I going to live your life? You ain't got, where you got to talk for me?
Yeah, exactly.
Woman have sex. I can have sex with a woman. I can have sex with a woman. I can eat food.
Yeah, the Western world is thirsty for Islam.
What you got for me, bro?
They are dying for Islam. They are dying for Islam. And yeah, I would say, like, ending on that note, man, like, you know, the Prophet peace be upon him said, not looking after your parents. He said, may his face be rubbed in dust.
Yeah.
May his face be rubbed in dust. May his face be rubbed in dust for the one whose parents reach old age and he doesn't look after them. This is the biggest boys. Imagine the one that looked after you and you put him in a care because you want to go holiday to Honolulu, wherever. And you want to come and tell us, Islam, you are dying for Islam. And that's why one scholar said, if the non-Muslims knew what we have in Islam, they will pick up arms to come and fight you for it.
Yeah.
If they knew the contentment we have, when we talk about rizq, having trust in God and this, that, brother, they'll pick up arms. They'll get arms to come and fight you for it.
High level,
they don't know what we have, alhamdulillah, you know, because alhamdulillah is content. And knowing coming from that lifestyle, well, they don't know what we have.
It's frustrating seeing that so many of these intellects are so close to realizing there's studies proving that Muslims don't have the most contentment. Yeah. I don't know if you ever read the Unabomber Manifesto, but he talks about all the problems that you just addressed back before technology really took over. I think he wrote it in the 70s and 80s, and he was talking about how the rise of technology was going to cause over socialization. We're going to be communicating with too many people and not have a community aspect. Liberalism is it's a great read. And he ended up mailing bombs to Harvard professors and university professors because he was really disenfranchised, and they put MK Ultra on his brain. He was a really smart person, and he ended up going away to the woods. And he wrote this manifesto saying how liberalism, over socialization, and technology was just going to ruin the West, and he was pretty much right. He predicted the rise of social media. He predicted the rise of liberalism, but he never became Muslim.
Yeah, sure.
He was describing all the problems with the West, but he never got to the full solution. Even though his IQ was something like 170, and he was one of the smartest people. He was teaching Harvard classes, he was teaching university classes when he was like 23 years old. What do you think is the deciding factor that takes those people who realize that Muslims have that contentment? What can really help them push to that final step to take the Shahada and become a Muslim?
I think, and again, if I may just add to, and this is a beautiful question you're asking, the West has trauma. And the trauma...
You're a revert, Lord.
Yes, I am a revert, yeah.
You are. Yeah. It's a Christian.
Yeah. The West has trauma, and the trauma stems from an origin that has nothing to do with Islam. The reason why the West becomes liberal, if in your historical student, the reason why the West becomes liberal is because it's proceeding with centuries of tyranny that has a conception of religion that has nothing to do with Islam. So if you go to a Western person and you tell the religion, they have trauma and they're misanthropes, they hate God, because of what the Catholic Church has done.
And especially with science as well.
Because exactly, so what we're dealing with people, we're telling them, look, come back to religion, but they're looking at us and thinking we are Martin Luther or we're, Thomas Aquinas, or they're attributing our religiousness with their own trauma.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think what we have to do in the Dawah, and this is why always very understanding sometimes why a feminist, not the feminists today, but the feminists, perhaps the first wave of feminism, why they exist, is because it goes against the very fabric of what it means to be a woman. Right. The Muslims never treated women in a way where a woman had to feel like protesting. Yeah. You see?
So feminists are more misogynistic than all the people that...
Yes, it's a uniquely the same thing with sexuality. It's a uniquely a Western problem. But what I think we as Muslims have to tell them is like, look, I understand what you went through.
Yeah.
But we're not inviting you to do this. Yeah. We're inviting you to the balanced way, which is Islam. And people need to understand that first, and then I believe they could find a way to Islam.
Zisha, when you give dawah, what's that final straw that gets people to take the shahada for those people that are so close but can't?
Creme de la creme.
Yeah.
The creme de la creme is, it's that human contact. Because sometimes what will happen is when you're so fixated on arguments and you're so fixated on the nuts and the bolts of the things, you miss what actually makes us human. And that's connection, that's understanding the other person. And sometimes that's what it is. The problem is not very complex. The problem will be something like something happened in his life or a perception that he has about something. So if you connect with somebody as a human being, not thinking, you know what, he needs this argument or he needs this and I can provide this and that. Sometimes all it is actually taking a step back, listening to him.
Yes.
And sometimes the question would be, when you're speaking to somebody, not giving them dawah, first is asking where he needs dawah. So finding out where those gaps are, like, so what will it take for you to accept Islam? Like, what are the tick boxes? Oh, no, I would need to see God and I would need the scripture to be proven, like why the Quran is it. So what he is now telling you in essence is he's giving you a checklist. Yeah. If you just follow that checklist, then that will be better than you speaking at him for 45 minutes. This might even be a 20-minute conversation where you're just talking about the points that he wants answered. And sometimes just listening, being there as a human being, as opposed to, I'm going to tell you now, I'm your teacher now, I'm this. So what's the issue that you have, bro? Tell me, let me hear it. Oh, I think this is the issue, that's the issue. Like Sherlock Holmes says, data, give me information. Even when he's at home, he's got all of this data coming in. He said, give me as much data. And then from that data, he's able to extrapolate. He's able to kind of draw a pattern and say, okay, this is where it's going. We should be doing the same thing as well. Sometimes it's not, let me do this. And that's the thing at Speaker's Corner. Sometimes what we're doing is we're developing relationships. You'll see somebody one week, you speak to him. If he needs to go, he needs to go. It's not like, no, I must now get you to convert. No, then I'll see you next week, bro. There was one guy I was speaking to, bro, I just remembered. He told me the date that his wife died. And that was very close to him. I remembered that date, and I just, in a passing comment, I quoted it. That one, he said, you've won my heart with that. The fact that you've remembered my wife every week when he saw me thereafter. It was like, he ignored everybody, said, oh, it's that human contact. It's that human concern. And that transcends everything. Yeah, no, it's not even that. It's caring about the person. Like, bro, there's a person in our local area, bro. His English is not that great, but when he goes to somebody, he leans in and he's like, look, bro, I truly have concern for you. And look, just like a drop of alcohol or, a sip of alcohol can have an effect on a person, Iman has, like faith, has an effect on the believer. Iman should be emanating from that believer. Like somebody we met today as well, he said, look, I get some good energy from you and from that person and this and that. Like some people can sense this stuff. Like Iman should be permeating from you. And the only way that's going to happen is if you put your head this on the floor in front of him. And when you do that, that's when he says, you know what, now let me elevate him. His head is down there. Let me elevate that head in front of the people now. Because he's humbled himself to me. Wow. Then to everybody else, then you are someone. But here, in front of Allah, you're crying. One man cries, brother, don't cry, and this and that. Companions would cry. And it would be normal. But cry in front of who? Cry in front of Allah. And that's what makes you a man. When you're able to say, you know what? He is the one. He is the one. He deserves my ibadah.
Are you guys here tomorrow?
Yeah, we are. We have to get going anyway. This is a perfect thing.
Are you guys here tomorrow?
Yeah, inshallah.
Because tomorrow I'm free. If you guys just want to catch up.
I would love to.
Yeah, let me know where you guys are going to be.
Let me get your number.
Okay, yeah.
We do have to get going. The restaurant wants to close up. I would love to keep going for a long time. Thank you so much, everybody here. Sabal Tajana, Ishan, Mohammed Hijab again, of course, Ali Dawa. I appreciate you. All of us. I didn't get that link. Dawood, of course. We got here. I couldn't. Abdul. Thank you again for driving over here into this restaurant. Thank you, everybody here. I appreciate it. The Warner, of course. Come on, man.
Come on,
Come on, man. By the way, we have a charity if you want to perform zakat, or even if you're not Muslim, we have projectiftar.org/Nico. You can give $2 and you'll give one meal. Yesterday we raised $6,000, mashallah, $6,000. So you guys, we fed 3,000 people alone in yesterday's stream. Let's see if we can double it today. So the link will be there. I'm sure they could put it in the description.
Does this stream, does it end like when the live, or do you put it off as videos? How do you?
I can send it to you if you would like to.
What's it called?
Rumble.
It's like
You've never seen Rumble?
Look at that. That's so like constellation, like.
Well, shout out to Rumble. We have free speech over here. I've been banned on YouTube for 2 years. It's very refreshing.
So if anyone puts a video, they get in trouble as well.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Because when they directly promote you,
You're okay if you can be able to post, but we don't want to speak too much about that because it might seem that's besides the point. Thank you so much for coming on. Ramadan Mubarak to all the Muslims here. I hope you stay steadfast on the rest of Ramadan.
And inshallah, when you get married, you call us to your wedding. Yeah.
Of course,
if you want, you can do the nikah. But I don't know if it'll be bad. Over Zoom.
Do you have best man in Islam? Does that
two witnesses? No, you have best brother.
Witnesses?
You have best brother. Yes.
Okay. I gotta relearn all these pagan rituals that I was doing.
Yeah. Don't worry, it took me time, man. I can remember when I first came to Islam, I was doing this. I was like, yeah. And he was like, what are you doing, brother? So I don't know what that. And then my culture, then my car had the blue eye. So bro, you okay? That's no problem. Don't you slowly, it's normal. Slowly.
You gotta help me relearn all this pagan rituals.
Don't worry, trust me.
Thank you again for coming out, everybody. I really enjoyed this night. I'll see you guys soon. We should be back tomorrow. Bye, guys.